Another Aston Villa attack comes to nothing. Villa 1, Southampton 4. Remember, Newcastle against Everton coming up very shortly here on Premier League Live. Then we'll be off to Old Trafford. Manchester United against Arsenal, the big game of the weekend. Despite their lowly positions in the table, 15th and 12th respectively at the start of the weekend, and then Tottenham take on Brighton at 7:15. Here is Carl Walker-Peters trying to turn into some space in the centre circle. Romeu forward to Walcott. Looks a bit jaded, Theo Walcott, I think, in the second half. Didn't play much football for Everton, did he?
Just haven't got him into the game. Like I said, I think where Villa have controlled probably the last 30 minutes, when Southampton have won the ball back, they give it away too much.
McGinn plays it out to the Aston Villa right-hand side. Ward-Prowse, the makeshift left-back, heads it clear. And it's going to be a throw-in that El Mohammadi wants to take quickly into Trezeguet. Gives it back to El Mohammadi, the two subs linking up for Villa. Here now is Ezri Konsa over halfway. Forward it goes once more to Trezeguet. Ward-Prowse just ushers the ball behind. It will be a goal kick now for Southampton. They are 3 minutes away plus added time from yet another away victory. Dean Smith with plenty to ponder between now and next weekend when they go to Arsenal. Doesn't get any easier. But we should point out they are 8 points better off at this stage of the season than they were last term, Aston Villa. So there are clear signs of progression, despite a pretty poor performance, certainly for the first hour of this game. Here's Jack Grealish now, in the left wing position for Villa, into the penalty area. Grealish drives it across the box. It's going to be kept alive by El Mohammadi, right corner of the 18-yard area. Douglas Luiz with a cross over the head of Watkins. Walker-Peters away, and then volleyed clear by the new man Diallo. Here's Tyrone Mings, 2 yards inside the Southampton half.
Sorry, Alex, Southampton can't get out their half. Like I said, they're dealing with the balls that are in the box, but they can't seem to, from what they were doing for the first 60 minutes where they were keeping the ball, finding the pockets. I just think it's that old scenario. They were so in control that you suddenly drop your standards a little bit, and then it's really difficult to bring them levels back up again.
Diallo fouls McGinn inside the centre circle. He thought about a quick free kick, the Scotland international, but takes it short in the end. And here's Grealish, right in the centre of the Southampton half. Strokes a lovely ball out to the right, and El Mohammadi crosses. McCarthy just managed to palm it away with Watkins ready to pounce to the far post. Watkins has taken a quick throw, and here now is Matt Targett for Aston Villa into the 89th minute of the game. 4-1 they trail. Douglas Luiz with a shot, and that was a comfortable save from McCarthy. One for the cameras, I think.
But comfortable, mate. But normally keepers nowadays, they palm it away. I think it's quite nice that he's actually caught it.
It was a nice height for Alex McCarthy. Douglas Luiz making his 20th Premier League start in succession, the Brazilian. Not one that he will remember particularly fondly as we move into the last minute of the 90. Aston Villa 1, Southampton 4. Tyrone Mings brings the ball down inside his own penalty area and then scoops it left-footed out this near touchline. Grealish can't keep it in play though, in front of the VAR monitor, and it will be a throw-in for Southampton, and we're about to find out very shortly how many added minutes there will be. I think there might be at least 6, Jason.
Yeah, we've had a few injuries now, haven't we? So I would be very surprised. The thing is, from Southampton's point of view, they want the game to end now.
Dean Smith can at least force a smile on the touchline. Mings forward for Villa. Stevens wins the initial header, but only as far as Trezeguet. Played the pass slightly behind Barkley. He was fouled by Theo Walcott. The referee had a good view and doesn't give the free kick. It's cleared in the end by Romeu, and we are going to have 6 added minutes at the end of the game, as predicted. Here is Walker-Peters for Southampton, looking for a 5th goal now, just to put the icing on their cake, and Tyrone Mings has headed it back into his own penalty area. Target there ahead of Armstrong, and the goalkeeper Martinez will clear it away left-footed. Grealish pushing the back from Diallo, and it's going to be a Villa free kick well inside their own half. £12 million he cost Ibrahima Diallo, filling that void left in midfield by Pierre Højbjerg and his move to Tottenham. Here's Watkins skipping away from Stevens, getting to the byline and forcing another good save at the near post from McCarthy, and then a foul by Darlow on Grealish, and Aston Villa have a penalty in stoppage time at the end of the game.
But again, poor from Southampton. You know what I mean? Kyle Walker-Phillips, stand up. He's let Watkins, great run, drive past him, but it's too easy, and then it's that one where Jack Grealish is just going to nip the ball in front, and he's looking to clear the ball. It's a stonewall penalty, but he looked as though he tried to pull out of it, but from the referee was 4 yards away. It's just been sloppy. You've got to give credit to Villa. Last 30 minutes, they've been a completely different team. Southampton have been poor.
I thought Grealish was going to take the penalty himself, but he's left it for Ollie Watkins. Watkins, who scored that perfect hat-trick here against Liverpool earlier in the season. Looking for his 6th goal in 9 matches in an Aston Villa shirt, the former Brentford man. In the 92nd minute, McCarthy, who's made a number of good saves in this second half. Can he make another one here? Watkins with the short run up and right-footed into the corner. It's an excellent penalty, and the lead is down to 2. Aston Villa 2, Southampton 4. Great
pen, very confident, looking at the keeper, put it to the keeper's left in the top corner, but like I said, Villa deserved the 2. If anything, they've got to be unlucky that they hadn't scored many. If it hadn't been for Alex McCarthy making 3, 4, 5 saves, this could have been a lot closer game.
And he's certainly a lot closer than it looked when Southampton scored their 4th goal just before the hour. And I think Ralph Hasenhüttl, as pleased as he'll be with another 3 points away from home, he won't be overly delighted with the way that his side have slackened off in the final half an hour. Still 3 minutes of stoppage time to play. Villa 2, Southampton 4. Shane Long can't keep the ball in play, and it will be a goal kick for Aston Villa. Surely they can't get something in the final 3 minutes of added time here. That 4th goal from Danny Ings might just be important in the final outcome. So throw in for Villa, well inside the Southampton half.
See, it's going to be a strange one, because Southampton, of course they're going to be really pleased that they've obviously got a great result, but the last half hour, I mean, you'd be a little bit disappointed. Yeah, I mean, how can you be disappointed when you're winning the game 4-2? But you will, because they more or less stopped playing. This could have been an opportunity. Villa were there for the taking, and for some reason they let them get back into the game.
Yeah, they've got another throw here, high up the field. Villa, Jack Grealish is going to take it, not wasting any time. Bit of a high foot there from McGinn, but play on, says the referee, because Southampton have the ball with Walcott now inside the centre circle. He's been challenged by Trezeguet, but it breaks kindly for Armstrong, and here's Walcott 10 yards outside the area. Armstrong almost in there. It was a really good tackle from Tyrone Mings, who went to ground and just stuck out one of those long legs and cleared the danger. Just for a moment I thought Armstrong was going to skip clean through on goal, Jason.
Yeah. To be fair, Mings, he's beautiful on left foot, but like I said, it was a last ditch challenge, but that was the first time more or less in the second period where Southampton actually had possession of the ball and linked up the play.
Grealish is in acres of space here. He's been found by Watkins. He's into the penalty area, up against Walker-Peters. Jack Grealish to make it 4-3 maybe. Good block by Walker-Peters, and Southampton get the ball clear.
Again, a simple ball in the channel. Jack Grealish, you know he wants to come in on his right foot. That's what we talk about when Danny's goal, coming on his right foot, scored. Walker-Peters didn't let him come back inside and put a great block in. That was excellent defending.
Just over a minute of stoppage time remaining. Aston Villa, who lost 9 Premier League home games last season, are on their way to defeat once again here this afternoon, but I think Dean Smith will take a lot of heart from the way they've come back into the game in the final half an hour of proceedings. McCarthy to take the free kick for Southampton. He'll just try and pick out the corner flag, you feel. He does so down on the far right touchline as we look. Aston Villa's right hand side. They've got to throw in Villa, and one last chance maybe to launch an attack on the Saints goal away to our left. It's going to be El Mohammadi to take the throw. Into McGinn, dispossessed by Shea Adams, and Romeu carries it forward into the Villa half. Good challenge on the slide to win it back by McGinn. Romeu wanted a free kick, not given. And then it's cleared into the stands by Armstrong. We've played most of the 6 added minutes now. Danny Ings with that left.
Together, Legion, Talk Sporters can defeat it.
Top Sporters, Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, Titanium Plasmatronic Death Droids from the Future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Newcastle United against Everton here from St James's Park. I'm your host, Andrew Self, and alongside me is a former Tottenham, Southampton and Wimbledon defender, Chris Perry. This is Premier League Live. That's just ending the minute silence for Nobby Stars and our armed forces, but I'm going to ask the first question to Chris Perry. Your Southampton side have just won a 7-goal thriller. What do you think will happen today?
I hope we get as many goals, to be honest, but I don't think so. I think looking at both sides, I think it's going to be a tight affair. I think Newcastle have got a really poor home record. I think Steve Bruce is going to look to keep it tight and hopefully nick something on the counter-attack with the pace of Wilson and Saint-Maximin.
Well, let's look at those two sides. 5 changes for Carlo Ancelotti, whose side lost last time out. In goal for them today is Robin Olsen on loan from Roma instead of Jordan Pickford, who's spent 120 games between the posts for Everton in the league. And it's a back 4 from left to right of Niels Nkounkou. And then it's Michael Keane, Yerry Mina and John Joe Kenny. Abdoulaye Doucoure, Allan and Fabian Delph holding in the middle of the park with Gylfi Sigurdsson and Andre Gomez just behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the top of the park. And they will be wearing their traditional Everton kit, which is royal blue shirts, white shorts and white socks. Black and white stripes for the Magpies, or should we say the Toon, should we say Newcastle United. In goal for them are Carl Darlow, a back 3 of Fabian Schar, Jamal Lascelles and Federico Fernandez. 2 wing-backs of Jacob Murphy and Jamal Lewis, ex-Norwich City there for you. 2 holders in Longstaff, that's Matt Longstaff and Jeff Hendrick. And then it's Allan Saint-Maximin and Miguel Almiron giving support to young Callum Wilson at the top of the park. Just 1 change for Steve Bruce in this game from the draw they had last week. Wilson tries to spin on the edge of the halfway line with Yerry Mina and gets a free kick in this first half. Newcastle United face the pitch very much as you would see it on your television at home. We're above the technical areas. Newcastle attacking a goal away to my left, Everton attacking a goal away to my left. Jordan Pickford's where I'm going to start with Chris Perry. Well, that's a big decision, sir.
Yes, it's a huge decision, isn't it? I know he's made a couple of blunders recently and not been in particularly good form, and I think that the fact that they brought in Robin Olsen in the transfer window, right at the end of the transfer window, I thought it was a really good signing for them. Sub-experienced international goalkeeper to back up Jordan Pickford, but it does mean that if Pickford does have a few bad games, you've got someone of that sort of class to bring in. You've got no hesitation from Ancelotti to bring him into the team.
You obviously feel that he's got some Italian experience as well, playing for Cagliari last year, and not a great season for Cagliari, but they had a lot of clean sheets, so he knows what he's at, the 30-year-old Danish player. Hendrick rolls the ball back. Fernandez hooks it out near side. It could be Jamal Lewis over the halfway line. Down this near side, the left for Newcastle United. But run to a little bit of a pocket. Almiron goes back to Fernandez. Fernandez short to the long-haired Jeff Hendrick, who drills from through the centre. Keane will volley this away on the edge of his 18-yard box for Everton. Allan tidies up and plays it to Niels Nkounkou. Interesting head there. Never made a game, never made a first team appearance for Marseille, but 23 games for Marseille B side. So a little bit of inside knowledge, you feel, for that signing there by Carlo Ancelotti?
Yes, certainly. I saw him in pre-season a couple of times, and he looked really impressive, actually, getting forward down the left-hand side. Looks a good buy. Obviously, he's only going to be back up to Luca Digne, so he's going to learn a lot from Luca Digne. Obviously, speaking the same language is going to help. They're going to be able to talk to each other, and I'm sure Digne would have spoken to him before this game, knowing that he was playing. Absolutely, and you've got to say that Luca Digne's assists, his attacking prowess down the left-hand side, is going to be sorely missed today. I think the question mark, Everton started the season like a house on fire, didn't they? Absolutely brilliantly, and I think their first 11 it is a very good 11, and is certainly competitive in and around the top 4 places. The question mark is over squad depth, and last week they've obviously lost Seamus Coleman. Last week it was Ben Godfrey who played right back. This week it's John Joe Kenny playing right back. But have they got a real replacement for him? I think John Joe Kenny's a much more natural replacement, having played all last season on loan at Schalke in the Bundesliga. Did very well there, very highly thought of. But again, Digne gets injured this week and they go to young Niels Nkounkou. Have they got a strong enough squad when their first team players drop out? So no James Rodriguez this week, and the midfield looks a little bit of a mishmash. We were wondering how they were going to set up, and it looks like it's a 4-5-1 for Everton almost. Yeah, indeed, I do agree with you there. They've got a sort of plethora of middle of the park players, but some of the big players, it was difficult to change. Good ball there from Delph, trying to get it into the feet of Calvert-Lewin, but he just had it taken off his toes by Fernandez. Newcastle work it down the right-hand side. Jacob Murphy, a little bit of the forgotten man, really, for Newcastle United. Scored the equaliser for them on 89 minutes last weekend. Gets his touch, but it goes all the way back to Olsen, who gets a nice side foot on it and plays it out. Everton hold the ball just in front of their 18-yard box. Square it from Mina to Keane. Keane to Fabian Delph. Delph at the moment playing more like the traditional left back. Down the line he goes to Andre Gomez. Nkounku's very high, isn't he, on the left-hand side? And we have seen Delph, certainly for Manchester City, play at left back a lot.
Yeah, his last appearance for Manchester City, I think, was at left back. Funny how the years slip away. Fabian Delph, I remember him as a youngster. Now he's 30 years of age, as though that's old, but it just shows you how their careers and drift away. Ball on this near side gets put out of play by Jamal Lewis. It's going to be a throw for Everton, which they'll look to load up. We've got a replay monitor here, and I just got a little picture of Jordan Pickford, who sent his rise to England #1 from the time he started at Sunderland has been fast and dramatic. And maybe this is just a little aside from Carlo Ancelotti to say, don't take it as a given. Keep working hard. Keep concentrating on your game.
I think you want Jordan Pickford to react in the right way to this, and maybe the quality of someone like Robin Olsen coming will push him onto the next level and regain his consistency.
Carlo Ancelotti, who's enjoying his time at Everton, but it's Newcastle on the football. Schar goes long, looking for the run of Wilson in behind Keane, who doesn't take it. Wilson's into the penalty area now. Mina comes across, gets a shot off. Not great, but he did really well there. Callum Wilson, it was bouncing awkwardly. He was wide of Olsen's left-hand post, and just above his waist he's taken a shot in the end.
It's really poor defensive play actually from Everton. Michael Keane should never get beaten over the top, and Yerry Mina should be round on the cover. The angle was against Callum Wilson. It was an awkward height, as you mentioned, and he just couldn't guide it on target, but they get away with one there, Everton.
Spoken like a true experienced central defender, Chris Perry. There we go. You would have been round there, wouldn't you? You'd have been round there, tied it up, little cushion head.
Yerry Mina has to get round his centre-back partner there, has to be round on the cover. As a defender, you should always be expecting your your fellow defenders to miss the ball, to make a mistake.
Anticipation, that's the word you're looking for. They're making sure that if they do make a mistake, you're the first one to react to it. Long ball out on the far side, can't be taken by Nkounkou, just takes it on the chest, and it'll be a throw to Newcastle United. 8 yards inside the Everton half, going down the Everton left, the right of Newcastle United. We're into the 7th minute. It's almost elapsed. Don't forget you can tweet us here at TalkSport Live, and myself at Selfie86 and Chris Pez Perry if you want to talk to the real brains behind the pair in the commentary seats today. Newcastle feed the ball all the way back to a pink-clad Darlow. Martin Dubravka out for a long time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin almost got in there, but Dubravka finally swept the ball upfield. But Everton have won it back inside the centre circle now on the Newcastle side. Delph forward into the feet of Sigurdsson, who tries to play it first time into Doucoure, who misses out, and Fabian Schar plays it far side for Newcastle. Jacob Murphy steps away from Gomez, tries to make his way to the halfway line, goes for a long diagonal crossfield looking for the smiling Paraguayan Miguel Almiron, but it was too far in front of him. Nobby Styles and Remembrance minute silence early on there, but the side settling down. What do you expect from the game today, Chris?
I'm not really sure, never sure what to expect from Newcastle. Really poor at home recently. Steve Bruce will certainly want to turn that round. I mean, last season they struggled massively at home, picking up just over a point a game at home.
It just hasn't really happened. They've sort of mixed good and bad as well this season, haven't they?
I think they can be more attacking than they are. I think at times Steve Bruce is a little bit negative and they don't score enough goals.
Good work by Longstaff, dispossessing Delph on the halfway line, breaks down that far side as Newcastle attack the goal away to my left hand side. Longstaff into Saint-Maximin, who is the real box of tricks for Newcastle United, and a little bit, I would say, Wilfried Zaha-esque. When they don't play Allan Saint-Maximin, Newcastle tend to lose. And that's very much like Crystal Palace at one stage, but now the ball is still with Newcastle with Almiron. Almiron turned around by Doucoure, goes back to the halfway line where Fernandez puts it across to Lascelles to Schar, straight ball forward. Saint-Maximin runs up to the halfway line, back to Fabian Schar, who tries to run inside of Gomez. And it is a sort of 4-3-2-1 for Everton today, but Jamal Lewis has the ball on this near side. John Joe Lewis of Everton, Kenny I should say, pops him back. Crossfield ball is cut out this time. On the halfway line, Jeff Hendrick bouncing down the nape of his neck. Gets the ball back to Schar to Longstaff. Newcastle have the ability, and I think that Steve Bruce is trying to change the way they play their football, but I often get the feeling that the breaks will go on depending on how they enter the home turn at Christmas. I think if they're on the wrong end of the table or not looking quite so good, I often feel that Steve Bruce might revert back to making sure they get a point here, there and everywhere.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's a very cautious manager at times, Steve Bruce.
Terrific work there on this near side, but
I think he's probably been helped by the fact that there aren't any fans at this huge stadium. Magnificent fans they have there that really back their team, but they like to see attacking football.
They do. They like. Well, it's been a while since they really had that flowing football that Kevin Keegan, I suppose to a degree Bobby Robson did as well, but since then it's been a little bit sort of
dour is the word I'd use.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that. But anyway, Everton, who could go top of the table today with a victory. The goal difference is better than the red half of Merseyside. Building slowly from the back. Gomez playing out on that left side, back inside to Delph. Delph 12 yards inside his own half, goes back some 15 yards to Keane. Keane square to Mina.
Everton are trying to push their fullbacks very high up the pitch, and it's actually Doucoure and Delph, two central midfield players, we're dropping into the fullback areas when they're in possession deep of the play. They're trying to get Nkounkou and John Joe Kenny really high up the pitch, but to do that it means that Delph and Doucoure have to keep the ball, and at the moment they're not finding it easy to play through Newcastle. Mistake there from Darlow.
Sigurdsson gets onto it, but it's redeemed by Federico Fernandez, who gets up and looks at Darlow. Darlow does the natural thing, looks into the empty stand and doesn't catch the eye of his left-sided centre half, because that was a poor throw out there. Just come back to a question I was going to say about if your two fullbacks push on, and then you get Doucoure and Delph to drop into the full-back positions. Surely that's a fallacy. It's a waste of time.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but what it does is Nkounkou and John Joe Kenny are definitely better going forward than they are defensively, and Doucoure and Delph are definitely better on the ball playing out from the back than Nkounkou and John Joe Kenny. So what Ancelotti is trying to do is get his better players on the ball deeper on the pitch so that they can then play through. He doesn't believe that his two fullbacks are going to be good enough to do that.
There we are. Nkounkou has the ball in his hand, throws it into Gomez. We won't thank him for that throw, because from the proximity of 5 yards he's slammed it into the instinct, didn't he? They obviously don't like each other in training, or else they were on the wrong sides on Friday, because Andre Gomez, who's got a silky touch, I feel.
He's a good player, Andre Gomez. Really good to see him back on the pitch after that horrific injury.
Yeah, agree with you 100%. Ball goes forward. Hendrick gets a little header on it. Federico Fernandez sweeps it out to Jamal Lewis, 18 yards shy of the halfway line. Over the halfway line he goes. Saint-Maximin is out on this near touchline, receives the ball. Had to go back some 10 yards to Hendrick because Sigurdsson had got back in front of him.
Yeah, I'm not sure this three at the back system really suits Saint-Maximin. I think he's a tremendous player when he's wide on the left, receiving the ball, driving infield. Very unpredictable in possession.
I just feel, and maybe, you know, and I've never been to the changing rooms and the place that you've been and the levels that you've played football, but I feel that with Saint-Maximin, the other 10 players are going to have to do his work.
Yeah, you know, yeah, at times.
They're basically
give him the ball.
Yeah,
give him the ball. Yeah,
wherever you want to go, son, you get the ball, and we'll do the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Go and find the ball. You can afford one player of that, and I think that's maybe why Almiron hasn't played quite as many games as he did last season, because he's another one who's a little bit like that. His work rate's tremendous, but he's very lightweight in terms of that side of the game, and he's another one that you want to go and find the ball and drift and find the ball and get on it and make things tick.
So Maximin volleys it back to Jamal Lewis from the throat. Everton with a high press. Federico Fernandez goes back to Carl Darlow, who looks to his right, knocks it long, looking for the runner Callum Wilson, headed above his head by Mina, pulled down by Delph to Allan. Delph in the end sees the body of Sean Longstaff come thrusting into him and falls to the floor. And our referee today is Atters, as he's known in the football world, Stuart Atwell. I wonder if referees have nicknames. You know,
I'm sure they do.
Everybody has a nickname. Yeah. He's called Atters amongst the refereeing fraternity. But Stuart Atwell, alongside him, assisting him, Constantine Hatzidakis, and of course Mark Perry. No relation, I hope?
No relation, not that I know of anyway.
He's always run the line when you were at central defence, I always heard, you know, kept that flag up.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Every time I put my arm up, the flag went up.
Yeah, there we go. Every time you say about arm going up, I just think of George Graham's Arsenal. I shouldn't say that, but it still sticks.
I played at George Graham's Spurs, so it was the same there.
There we go. You did indeed. Good days. Anyway, near side, Everton struggling to get the ball off. And it's going to be Schar that will have a throw from Newcastle United. Just about on the halfway line. 15 minutes in here. You listen to Premier League Live. And Fabian Schar can't find anybody to throw to, and in the end throws it slightly aimlessly down the line, but the bouncing ball catches Fabian Delph there, who with a high left foot puts the ball straight back out of play. So Maximin gets the ball to his feet, but he's got two around him. Back to Hendrick. Hendrick now back to Lascelles. Lascelles down a touchline to Saint-Maximin, who has to go back to Lascelles. And a good pressing from Everton. Carlo Ancelotti had some work to do with the Toffees when he got there. I think he's had a pretty impressive start. What do you say?
I think he's made an excellent start. Yeah, I think some of the signings in the summer were very, very astute. Allan, Doucoure, James Rodriguez, three excellent additions. I think the side look very focused. They press a lot higher up the pitch now. They're much more difficult to play against. And of course Dominic Calvert-Lewin has grown under Ancelotti into one of the top centre forwards in the division.
He's done so well. 15 goals in 26 matches under Carlo Ancelotti. I think he only had about 9 in about 94 prior to that. The ball is currently with Everton, who's sweeping back almost from the halfway line to Robin Olsen, making his debut today on loan from Roma.
I think your worry for Everton would be that 3 of the back 5 are playing their first game of the season. And that's never a good thing in terms of Premier League appearances anyway.
I agree with you. I was lucky enough to see a lot of John Joe Kenny on loan at Oxford United, and always struck me as one of those that was never going to have any problems in adjusting to it. He was a man in a boy's body very early on. It was rough and tough at the top of League Two then, and he stood up to the task very, very well, and I think he'll only do well as he goes forward. With Niels Nkounkou, maybe the dilemma for him, as you've already alluded to, is that he's more attacking minded than defensive minded, and with that you've always got to have that sort of safety net behind him, but we wait to see.
You wonder whether he's more of a left wing back than a natural left back, and if they do have to switch to a back five, it would suit him.
Lovely touch there by Almiron. Federico Fernandez couldn't take it in his stride. Ball breaks just down by the Everton penalty area to Jamal Lewis, but he's lost it. Sigurdsson up to Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the touchline, and Jeff Hendrick's got to be careful there, because the first effort was pretty poor to give away the free kick, and then he's blocked the quick free kick being taken by Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
It was a lovely hold-up play from Calvert-Lewin though, wasn't it? His first touch was excellent, second touch took it past Hendrick, who just dangled a leg and then stopped him playing forward quickly. But Calvert-Lewin is almost a throwback, isn't he, to an old-fashioned style centre-forward who wants to receive the ball into feet, so strong aerially, runs the channels really, really well.
Really nice.
I really enjoy watching him.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same, and he's a young man that's playing now with bags and bags of confidence, and you know yourself, when you're not confident, you don't want the ball all the time, and you don't want to show so much, or wherever you are, whatever part of the field is, you want to shovel it on really quickly because it comes to you. You want to get, not Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he wants to be involved now. He thinks there's a goal in every game for him, and he just feels absolutely on top of his game, doesn't he?
Well, he scored in every game but one, hasn't he? It's only last week's game that he's failed to score in at Southampton.
Interesting result now, maybe after Southampton were 4-1 up at Aston Villa, although pegged back to 4-3 in the earlier kick-off. You've got to say that Southampton result, maybe not such a big turn up for the books against Everton last weekend.
I think Southampton are a very decent side, and I think without Seamus Coleman, Andre Gomez and Richarlison, I think it's going to be expected.
Yeah. Ball goes up front there, and Michael Keane gets himself in a little bit of a tangle there before allowing Callum Wilson to get a toe in. Then Kenny puts it out for a throw. Everton at the moment, quite rightly, is picked up by a marvellous pundit today, Chris Perry. Three out of the back five being on debut for the season at least. Looking a little bit shaky when
it's understandable, isn't it? It's understandable. They certainly, I won't have thought they'd have done too much work together as a back four, and I think that's always a worry when you don't know each other's games particularly well.
I'm going to ask you another question, but the permutation, whether those, I feel there's only one worse permutation to three at the back, or two at the back four not being sort of regulars, would be your two centre
backs, both, not knowing each other. Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the most important bit. Keane and Mina are very settled, aren't they? I mean, they've played in every game this season, the two of them, and they seem to have a much better understanding. Certainly Yerry Mina this season has been a lot better, and Michael Keane has really stepped up and forced his way back into the England reckoning.
Yeah. Ball is with Doucoure, who's playing as right back, as Kenny's head off down the touchline, goes back inside to Keane back to Delph, who's playing where Nkounkou would be. Well spotted by Chris Perry, the fact that these two, Doucoure and Delph, play the ball a little better. But Kenny and Nkounkou are the people with bags of speed if they go the other way. Keane has the ball now. It's Delph in the left back position over the halfway line. 6 yards he goes forward before rolling it down the line to Nkounkou. Back it goes to Delph. Delph will just keep possession and go back to Michael Keane. Square, 18 yards inside his own half to Yerry Mina. Mina looks for the expansive long ball, but checks out and goes back to Keane.
Really struggling to play through though, Newcastle, aren't they, Everton? Newcastle have got good shape.
Good bit of work this time by Niels Nkounkou. He's managed to get past Jacob Murphy on the far side. Interesting, one of my pet hates is that people say you get some people that say, we passed the ball really well and everything was, we had loads of possession. You can't go side to side too much, Chris, because Newcastle, they're canny enough just to turn around and say, right, okay, you can play in front of us.
Newcastle are dropping back. They're getting pretty much 11 men behind the ball when the two centre-backs of Everton have possession. And so the problem for Everton is finding penetration and finding pockets where they can play into the likes of Sigurdsson and Andre Gomez, where they can get turned and where they can cause a problem.
Got to play between the lines, haven't they? And I'm not sure both of those two players would be your turn two players to play in those positions. I think you would like James Rodriguez.
James Rodriguez and Richarlison, wouldn't you? Absolutely.
They would be the people that would drop off the fullbacks and just in behind the midfield. And although they've got Bernard on the bench, who's
he can do that. Definitely,
so plenty of things going on for Everton. I think Carlo Ancelotti, though, will want to arrest the fact that they didn't get any points last week and just make themselves, first of all, difficult to beat, and then see if they can strike, because aerially they have been very good. Newcastle at the moment just contained in Saint-Maximin, hardly been in the game. Having said that, Saint-Maximin, Wilson and Almiron are just watching the ball go from side to side. Gomez sweeps the ball forward now. The run for Nkounkou, trying to get in behind Fabian Schar, who faces his own dead ball line, tries to play it down the line, and it's a throw to Newcastle. Comes off the toe, the tangerine toe of Niels Nkounkou.
Yeah, just looking at the opening quarter of the game, really, Everton are dominating possession, but without any penetration at all. Carl Darlow, apart from one missed kick playing out from the back, hasn't had any sort of worries at all. And you just wonder whether actually with Nkounkou and John Joe Kenny on the pitch, whether matching Newcastle up at half time and playing with a back three might be the way forward for them.
We've got Godfrey as well. Kenny tries to sweep the ball in. Almiron blocks across. Kenny tries to go around the long way, and it goes out of play. Yeah, I'm going to make a sweeping generalisation there, which I don't really want to do, because they are all different, but they're all the same. Gylfi Sigurdsson, Andre Gomez, Fabian Delph, Abdoulaye Doucoure. In my humble opinion, they're not the people that are going to really unlock a defence.
Well, that's why they brought in James Rodriguez.
Yeah.
For that exact reason. Gylfi Sigurdsson has flattered to deceive in an Everton shirt. He really has.
Only 45 million.
Yep.
There we go. Shouldn't say that. Anyway, Darlow, goal kick, Newcastle United, goal away to my right, knocks it long, looking for the head of Wilson, clears him and Keane, and Nkounkou heads it back to the edge of the 18-yard box, where Mina hooks it over his shoulder. Keane heads it onto Gomez's chest. Gomez and Delph, and now Allan tidies up, back to Mina, who's in the D of his own 18-yard box. Short pass out to Doucoure, and then rolls it back to Robin Olsen.
There's no forward passes available for Everton at the moment.
You also feel that if they do find Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's going to be
he's going to lack support, isn't he?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. They haven't got. Sigurdsson's trying to be the one to play a little bit higher up the pitch and get in support, but the ball's just gone into Calvert-Lewin there. He's held out, but he's going to have to wait 4, 5, 6 seconds before any support arrives.
And then when he's out on that far side, there's
no one in the middle.
Yeah. But looking at Newcastle, we shouldn't take it away from Newcastle.
They've set up really well.
Yeah, they've done a job at the moment. Again, looking at the middle of the park, they've got Longstaff and Hendrick in the middle. Now John Joe Shelvey, who is a guy that can produce a pass. In there, he's injured at the moment. So Newcastle themselves are trying to change, but it's going to be a slow change, you feel, for them to turn into attacking forces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, just a little look down on our monitor, as we're wondering what he's going to have to do. I feel a worldie may be the way forward for Dominic Calvert-Lewin today.
I think they need to get the ball higher up the pitch into these sort of areas where they've just got Nkounkou there, and get crosses into the box if Calvert-Lewin's going to thrive.
I think you're right. Calvert-Lewin wants an aerial ball into the box. He wants to get across his first man.
He doesn't mind playing up against three centre-backs if the ball's coming in from high and wide areas. The problem for him playing against three centre-backs is when the ball comes straight into him, because he's surrounded.
Yeah.
He's got nowhere to go.
Anyway, it's goalless here between Newcastle United and Everton. 26 minutes gone. Hooked high in the sky towards the halfway line. Wilson beats Keane. Saint-Maximin tries to run onto it, but Mina's the first body there. Heads it out to the left back, Niels Nkounkou, who plays a triangle with Keane and Delph, and Nkounkou now plays it back to Mina. Mina 12 yards outside his penalty area, the one he defends away to my left hand side. Plays it out to Abdoulaye Doucoure. Short pass from Sigurdsson back to Doucoure. Gomez round the corner, slightly blind. Allan didn't read it. Almiron comes away with the football, but he's given it away as well to Abdoulaye Doucoure. Into the feet of Calvert-Lewin, back to Gomez, who wanted to go left, and there was nothing.
There's no width. No.
Delph to Allan. Allan, short ball through to Sigurdsson, who has found a pocket of space, but his ball out to Kenny's behind him. He has to check. He goes back to Doucoure. Nice bit of movement by Sigurdsson again. Crosses a low one into Newcastle box. And that's the best we've seen really from Everton without really being threatening or raising the voices.
Yeah, it's the first time they've actually been able to pick some passes in between the lines of the Newcastle defence. They've got Sigurdsson forward, they've got into a crossing area, tried to deliver a ball into the box for Calvert-Lewin, which is good. Andre Gomez was in the box, so there were at least numbers in there. It was better from Everton, but you do feel that they have the players on the bench to change it. When you look at Bernard can play wide, Iwobi can play wide, Anthony Gordon can play wide, and you feel that whether they play with these four central midfielders, if you like, with Gomez, Delph, Allan and Doucoure on the pitch for the whole game or not, is going to depend on how successful they are at the moment. If they take the lead, it's perfect for them, but if they go a goal behind, you feel that at least they have the bodies on the bench to change the system and be a little bit more attacking.
You talk about squad depth. There are three youngsters, Gordon, Braithwaite and Sims, that are making up the rest of the bench for Everton. Quite a few names missing off there at the moment, I would say. Looking across, obviously there's two suspended in Richarlison and Digne, Coleman, Gbamin, Holgate, and of course the man Godfrey missing as well. Ball is on the halfway line. I can give you all the team news, any stats you want, because at the moment most of the action is around the halfway line.
Yeah, both teams are having possession in front of the other, really. Newcastle can't create anything at all going forward, apart from that one long ball for Callum Wilson, which was misjudged by Michael Keane. And Everton's just playing in front of Newcastle.
Just a little insight to all us commentators here at TalkSport Live. We always worry when there's a 7-goal thriller before us.
I said, didn't I?
We always end up with somebody's got to come along.
It was always going to be tight, this game. Newcastle games are very rarely thrillers nowadays, the way that Steve Bruce sets up, and you can understand why he sets up like that. He doesn't want to get beaten. He's trying to pick up points.
He's done okay, in fairness. Everybody thought he'd struggle after Rafa Benitez, who was a bit of a legend for not achieving too much with Newcastle United, apart from keeping them up. He has done well and did
yeah, you could. I suppose you could say that. He's in the Premier League. He's earning 1.18 points a game, which is going to keep you up, which is pretty much what they want to do, really, with the amount of money that they spend every year or don't spend. You know, it's pretty much all they can ask for, really.
Such a divided division now, isn't it, with the top end and the sort of players, you know, we saw it recently with Manchester United. They can't go for the ultimate players like they used to be able to get now. They're sort of being outbid by the Barcelonas and the Real Madrids. Pull ball out by Newcastle, cut out by Doucoure on the halfway line, drives forward now. He's just got Calvert-Lewin inside him, goes to the overlap for Kenny. Kenny crosses the ball in towards the penalty spot. Gomez goes to volley, headed away by Sean Longstaff, and Murphy gets it to Hendrick, who gets pushed to the floor there. But it is so very, very difficult to attract the right players. You know, you sort of, once upon a time, the Premier League could pick up players of decent quality throughout Europe, and then that was all the sides in the Premier League. And now it's sort of changed to a bit like everybody in the lower leagues. They've got to try and unearth a diamond somewhere. Yeah. If you're not the top boy in the Premier League, and it's sort of changed the way everybody's looking now. Sigurdsson caught late in the middle of the park, so Saint-Maximin runs into Allan. Allan, a rare breed of footballer that tucks his shirt in, gets the ball via a deflection of Longstaff to Delph. Delph's inside to centre circle. Doucoure finds Gomez. Gomez got a little bit of space here. He's got Nkounkou through there, but he slides a ball through the channel between the centre half and the full back. Lascelles gets across and puts it out of play. Lascelles fancies he's being pushed by Allan.
I don't think he was. He was looking for a free kick, so Gomez tries to split the defence. Lascelles sees the run of Allan, steps across, deals with it, puts it behind for a corner, hoping for a free kick, wasn't he? But
first of the game, 31 minutes. Sigurdsson goes away on the far side. Darlow, sorry, carry on.
Go on. Everton are a real threat from these. You look at Mina attacks the ball well. Keane has already got 2 goals this season. You've got Calvert-Lewin in there. They've got some real height and presence.
They have indeed. Newcastle's record against Everton in the latter years has been poor. Sigurdsson to deliver, drills it towards keeper, who gets a paw on it, not much of a paw. And it's Miguel Almiron that tries to spin away from Andre Gomez. He gets away from Gomez, a little Paraguayan. Now plays it lovely down the line here. Breaking forward, Callum Wilson. Delph trying to get back. He's cutting in field now. Rolls it into the field of Saint-Maximin. Real chance here. Great save by Robin Olsen. The best chance of the game there fell to Saint-Maximin. They're still trying to get into the penalty area as well. And in the end, Gomez gets the ball away. But what a break, what play by Callum Wilson, what a chance for Saint-Maximin, what a save by Olsen.
Yeah, it was brilliant initially from Almiron, who received the ball on the edge of his own box and carried it up the pitch, past Andre Gomez, released Wilson down the left-hand side. I thought John Joe Kenny did well not to come across initially, but then he just got sucked towards the ball as Callum Wilson got nearer the box, and Wilson was able to slide Saint-Maximin in, who really should have done better. It's a good save from Robin Olsen, but you'd expect Saint-Maximin to score there.
Really was good work, as you say. Almiron outpaced Gomez, and once he slipped the ball down the line to Wilson, you're quite right, Kenny's holding the danger area, which is by his goal, but in the end the ball's played to Saint-Maximin, who tries to dink it over the on-rushing Olsen. In the end, it looks like Nkounkou has been booked for a pullback on the edge of the box there.
Yeah, rightly so as well. I mean, he was right on the edge of the penalty area, wasn't it? He had to be very careful. Let Saint-Maximin go just before he reached the penalty area.
It is no more than 15 inches. It's no more than, I would say, about, well, I reckon 375 millimetres in the metric era outside the penalty area. Olsen looks out to his left. It's 2 yards up from the dead ball line. Almiron and Longstaff stand over it. A separated wall. It's rolled back towards the edge of the box to Hendrick, who takes a touch, fires a shot in, blocked by Allan, headed away by Nkounkou. Hendrick tries to play it out far side. Different from Newcastle United.
Yes, unorthodox certainly. Didn't really work, did it?
Good work there by Almiron. Longstaff trying to get in behind Niels Nkounkou. And you do fancy there's a big Jordan Henson type whale in the middle of the park, because Yerry Mina's been collapsed into a heap by the oncoming presence of not Derek Chisora or Alexander Usyk, but Callum Wilson. Just see it in the middle of a bit of a tussle, and
there's nothing in this at all. Yerry Mina just needs to get up.
It's handbags at best, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there we go. So nice to hear and nice to see. Yerry Mina must be all of 6 foot 5'4". Gone down far too easy for my liking there. It's going to be a corner to Newcastle. Longstaff to deliver. High hanging ball over the head of everybody. Almiron will pick it up on this near side. It came in from Olsen's left. Almiron faced up by Doucoure. Rolls it back out 25 yards, 30 yards out now to Murphy, who stands it up towards Lascelles. Out comes Olsen and claims well above the head of both of them. He looks very composed, doesn't he, Robin Olsen?
Very experienced goalkeeper. Been at Roma for a long time, obviously on loan at Cagliari last season. So there's no question about his temperament and the fact that he's a top goalkeeper.
30 is not old, is it, for a goalkeeper?
No, absolutely not. Coming into your prime for a goalkeeper, probably.
Could be a real warning sign across the missing Jordan Pickford. Just a shot across the bow. Pull ball back by Lewis, and Darlow's had to slide in because Abdoulaye Doucoure was chasing down Lewis. He rolled it back to the keeper, but under-hit it, and Darlow had to come out and slide and clear the ball away. Yeah,
it was a good initial play from Jamal Lewis, who tracked the run of Doucoure really well to get back into in-goal side, but then his back pass was horribly short for Darlow, and just wondered if Doucoure could have been a little bit braver and put his foot in there. I mean, it's not easy when you see a goalkeeper coming out of that sort of speed, but if he'd have just got there and nicked that ball, it would have been a certain penalty.
Interesting. I'll speak to you in just a moment. Goal scorers know when the ball leaves their boot or their forehead when it's going in the back of the net, and it's a great feeling. It's a superb feeling, even whatever level you play for. But as a defender, there's nothing more heart-sinking as when you know you've
left one short. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a moment in time. You're just
hoping the goalkeeper bails you out.
Yeah, it's an absolute horrific feeling. Calvert-Lewin with a chest down back to Allan, and you know that Jamal Lewis had that. As soon as he hit it, he knew, and he couldn't sort of get himself back on the front foot to try and chase it in. And he got away with it because Carl Darlow came out and cleared his lines. Still goalless here between Newcastle and Everton. Premier League live. Everton could go back top of the table. Newcastle 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats this season. Starts the season with a fine thumping win at West Ham. As Gomez tries to lift it forward, Lascelles reads it. Longstaff plays it out to Murphy. Murphy into the feet of Saint-Maximin on the halfway line. Nice little touch and drag back, but run into the Brazilian Allan, and Delph picks up the loose pieces and comes forward. Plays it to Doucoure. Everton overplaying sometimes with the midfielders they have on show today. Allan finds a bit of space, receives the ball from Kenny into the feet of Calvert-Lewin, 30 yards from goal. Back to Sigurdsson, and now back to Delph. Delph out to Nkounkou. Nkounkou into the feet of Sigurdsson. Sigurdsson getting busier as the half has progressed, but again it seems to be up towards the 18-yard box of Newcastle. Then back, Nkounkou with a cross looking for Calvert-Lewin, going across. Federico Fernandez has smashed it out of play for a corner, the second for Everton.
Yeah, you can see the disappointment on Fernandez's face there, that it's gone behind for a corner. He knows how dangerous these are. He really should be clearing that back up the pitch with his right foot. He's miskicked it behind and given Everton a real opportunity to fill the box.
Getting towards half-time. Darlow, goal away to my right-hand side, if you can imagine pictures of St James's Park. Here, away to my right, I'm just above the technical area. Darlow looks out to his right as well. It's going to be Gylfi Sigurdsson to kill this one in. Plenty of heads to aim for. It's gone out, looking for Keane. Strong header away by Fabian Schar. Played back in, headed away by Newcastle United. Kenny volleys it from whence it came. Is this going to be an offside flag? There's a few arms gone up in the rear guard of Newcastle United, but Gylfi Sigurdsson's got it down. He's turned Jacob Murphy inside out, goes back to Delph. Delph swings the ball in. Ball breaks off of a couple of heads to the feet of Calvert-Lewin, who's got back to goal, sets Doucoure. Doucoure's got his feet in all sorts of mess. 3 times he looked shaped to shoot there. The first touch was not good for any of them.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin did brilliantly to hold it up, but he was looking for someone to set it back to. Doucoure almost got too close to him, and the set became really difficult for Calvert-Lewin, and in the end Doucoure couldn't get the shot away.
Just came onto the ball too far. Doucoure was busting a gut to get in. The ball came back, and the opposing pace of him running in and the ball out, the touch just never allowed him to do anything with it. Instead, he used the outside of his boot and rolled through to Karl Darlow. Still goalless, 39 on the clock. Almiron and Hendrick back to Lascelles. Lascelles opens his body out, goes far side to Fabian Schar. Schar into the feet of Saint-Maximin, who's come very deep, but he's span away from Allan, who's gone down the heap on the halfway line. But it's Newcastle who come forward with Almiron. Almiron out to Jamal Lewis, level the 18-yard box of Everton. Drills the cross into the chest of Kenny. That'll be a throw. But worse news for Carlo Ancelotti was that on the spin from Saint-Maximin, the Brazilian Allan just crumpled in the heap afterwards.
Does he just catch the back of Saint-Maximin's studs here? No, I don't know. Did he twist it? Yeah, just twisted his ankle, didn't he?
One of those where you sort of go over the top. In the old days in my league, Chris, we didn't have a nice person that came on. In my league, it was get up, Sonny, here comes a wet sponge, run it off. It was hanging. It was hanging.
That was like my days at Wimbledon.
Yeah. You couldn't show no pain. Show no pain whatsoever. Your legs hanging off from the hip. There we go. Yeah, some great days you had, in fairness. Marvellous career, if I say so myself. But
I enjoyed it.
So you should have. There we are. Almiron gets the ball back to Federico Fernandez. Snapped into a challenge is Abdoulaye Doucoure, who has bounced the ball. Stuart Atwell. Normally that's a yellow card, but he did it off the field of play, and Stuart Atwell uses a little common sense. Federico Fernandez levelled the 18-yard box of Everton into the feet of Jamal Lewis. Back to Fernandez, who tees it up and volleys it into the box toward Wilson. Keane gets a header onto it, headed back forward by Hendrick, and Almiron's sort of ungainly efforts gets him past 2 Everton players before the last one plays the ball against him and out of play, and it's a corner to Newcastle United. 41 on the clock, and now it's Everton's time to be tested at a set piece. Longstaff will come over to this right hand side as Olsen looks out of his goal, and he is in the goal away to my left hand side. Lascelles, Fernandez, Schar, Wilson will all go forward. Wilson stands very close to Robin Olsen. Longstaff looks this time to go short. Saint-Maximin's very close by. Longstaff lifts it up. Target is Lascelles. It's hit the body of two, breaks to Lascelles. It hits a lot of body before Olsen comes out and smothers it. There were more appeals there than a slip cordon at cricket there, Chris, wasn't it?
Yeah. Never under control, really, was it? Misjudged header at the back post by Michael Keane, who was marking Lascelles, and fell to Lascelles, and he kind of bundled through a challenge. It might have hit an arm, it might have struck something or other, but never under control and never really a problem for Everton.
They currently have the ball, Keane and Delph, midway inside their own half. Delph back to Michael Keane.
I'm not sure this is working.
I think we could say after 42 minutes goalless, and the only thing to talk about is corners. I'd agree with you. It's been a tough watch for us.
If you play against the back three, and if you play with the back four, if you play a 4-4-2, you've got two players in the wide area against one, and that's where you get your overload. So you need your fullbacks to play as fullbacks, because they're pretty much off when you're out ball against the back three on the switch of play. And they're so high up, they're actually going onto the wing back, Jacob Murphy or Jamal Lewis, and it's really easy to mark.
Yeah, very interesting as well. I'm looking at the players that possibly have been given the keys to try and pick the locks of the opposite side. Saint-Maximin hardly seen the ball, and Gylfi Sigurdsson, who's tried to get in those spaces, but now Calvert-Lewin brings the ball down superbly well on the edge of the box. If he finishes this, it will be a goal.
That's brilliant, wasn't it?
It was terrific work, but Everton have got a chance now with Kenny back into the feet of Calvert-Lewin, gets it back to Allan on the edge of the Newcastle box, sets it for Fabian Delph, whose shot is sliced away horribly. But Gylfi Sigurdsson, we've spoken about Calvert-Lewin, it's all his own work at the moment, isn't it?
Their best option. They've got all these midfield players on the pitch who are trying to find pocket space. Their best option is literally to hit a long ball into Calvert-Lewin, because he's holding everything up. He is magnificent with his back to goal. He's bringing others into play, and he's the best way to get them up the pitch.
But Sigurdsson, Gomez, Delph, Doucoure and Allan, the people to pick up the set ball and get over the 18-yard box and into the penalty area and cause problems? I don't think they are.
They aren't, no, absolutely not.
Darlow with the goal kick goes long, straight down the throat of Mina, who heads it up to the ever reliable chest of Calvert-Lewin. He brings it down on the halfway line, goes back to Kenny to Mina square to Keane.
I think at half time, if I was Carlo Ancelotti, I'd take off Delph and I'd take off Sigurdsson, and I'd bring on two wide players, whether that's Iwobi, Bernard and Gordon. Two of those three would come on the pitch and give me some width down both sides and double up against the wing backs and try and get into areas where they can deliver crosses for Calvert-Lewin.
Sounds a logical idea, but Everton have got a chance, and it's Calvert-Lewin, 24 yards out, strikes it, blocked there by Federico Fernandez, far side. Gomez puts it back in again, headed away by Fernandez. Hendrick on the thigh and hooks it over his shoulder on his own penalty spot. First time Everton somehow managed to find a way through, but it was more luck than judgment, as they have the ball now midway inside the Newcastle half, played out to Gomez. Gomez has got Nkounkou on the overlap, now rolls it on to Nkounkou, who checked his run, crosses it in. Calvert-Lewin's beaten in the air by Federico Fernandez, and it's Almiron that comes away with the football. He's got the pace to go past Doucoure. Doucoure's right on his right hip. Almiron's done really well, holds it up nicely inside the Everton half, goes back to Lewis back to Hendrick, and Hendrick will no doubt go back to Carl Darlow. He's under pressure from Sigurdsson. We're into the 45th minute. Long ball out from Darlow's won easily on his own by Delph, who heads it into the feet of Allan. Allan to Doucoure to Sigurdsson. Sigurdsson now to John Joe Kenny, but just overplayed.
It's a simple ball as well from Sigurdsson. He should be making that. Carlo Ancelotti didn't look impressed.
5 changes from the defeat last week. Obviously some will be enforced, as in Luca Digne and then Godfrey. The rest of them haven't quite. If there were changes, Iwobi left out of the side or put onto the bench today.
Yeah, well, Iwobi was pretty poor, wasn't he, in the first half last week, that's for sure. He was given his opportunity, he certainly didn't grasp it.
Yeah, I agree. It's possibly Saint-Maximin's limping at the moment, but Allan's
gone down, hasn't he, Saint-Maximin? That's a worry for Newcastle.
Mina to Kenny 18 yards outside the penalty area, swings one in. Fernandez there with a big header again.
It's just too high to be crossing the ball from. Need to get another 10-15 yards up the pitch.
And the ball's gone out of play. Federico Fernandez has a few words with John Joe Kenny.
He doesn't have to kick the ball out. Saint-Maximin's got a muscle injury by the looks of it. It's certainly not a head injury.
No.
It's pretty innocuous, isn't it? As well.
Well, the bit of body he was holding doesn't actually look to me as though it's been caught.
No,
unless it's top of the hamstring.
It could be the hamstring, just as he was bumped off the ball by Gomez, wasn't he?
Yeah. But it was because he was holding just below his right buttock at the top of his hamstring, but he's certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons with Steve Bruce and Steve Clements there.
I think Steve Bruce will be pretty happy with the way the first half has gone in terms of stopping Everton playing and having the best chance of the half with Saint-Maximin's chance on the counter-attack.
Absolutely right. The ball's thrown back in play. We're into we're beyond the minute of additional time. Stuart Outwell puts us out of our misery there. Your thoughts quickly on that first half, Chris?
Yeah, pretty much as I expected, really. I don't think Everton look comfortable with the players they've got on the pitch playing the system they are. Newcastle have set up very well defensively and made it hard for Everton, and unless Calvert-Lewin gets on the ball, they don't look like scoring. Newcastle on the counter-attack a couple of times, once with Callum Wilson and once with Saint-Maximin, have actually looked the more dangerous side.
It's Newcastle 0, Everton 0 here at the break at St James's Park. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven, that's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talk Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
Talk Sport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me, Allan.
And extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Well, back here, it is goalless in the first half. There's your first half highlights. They'll try to get back. He's cutting in field now. Rolls it into the field. Saint-Maximin. Real chance here. Great save by Robin Olsen. The best chance of the game there fell to Saint-Maximin. They're still trying to get into the penalty area as well. But what a break. What play by Callum Wilson. What a chance for Saint-Maximin. What a save by Olsen.
Yeah, it was brilliant initially from Almiron, who received the ball on the edge of his own box and carried it up the pitch. Past Andre Gomez. Released Wilson down the left-hand side.
Well, that's what's happened in the first half here. No goals. Me and Chris Perry are just going to talk over some game that did have goals. Let's have a listen to the earlier kickoff between Aston Villa and, of course, Southampton at Villa Park. These are their match highlights.
Right-footed delivery and the header is in. Yannick Vestergaard, his second goal of the season. Well, I mentioned the threat that he poses in the air. Aston Villa clearly weren't alert to it, and having had one goal chalked off by VAR, Southampton are in front.
Run out from Ward-Prowse. It's going to be right-footed,
and he's curled it over the wall and in. The birthday boy doubles the lead for Southampton and joins the great Letizia with that number of 7 free-kick goals in the Premier League. It was an absolute peach, right-footed into the top right corner.
Here is Ward-Prowse,
right-footed again, and he's done it again. The same corner and the same outcome. It is turning into the perfect birthday for James Ward-Prowse. 2 brilliant free kicks, and it's Aston Villa 0, Southampton 3.
Here is Danny Ings,
shoots right-footed, and he finds the corner. That is a blockbuster from Danny Ings.
Grealish dribbling into the box and scooping the crossing for Tyrone Mings,
and Aston Villa have got one back. Tyrone Mings with a header,
Watkins with the short run up and right-footed into the corner. It's an excellent penalty, and the lead is down to 2. Aston Villa 2, Southampton 4. The last chance surely for Villa. Grealish is shot, he scores.
Squeezes it in at the far post. The goalkeeper McCarthy rooted to the spot.
Well, as a former Southampton player, what did you think of that, Chris?
Well, I thought Southampton were excellent, probably for the first hour or so, and then just completely switched off. And as soon as they conceded one, looked really nervy, and were a little bit fortunate there wasn't a couple more extra minutes of injury time.
Really bizarre as well, because they were comfortably in front, comfortably controlling the game, and then they conceded those late goals. But also, to add injury to insult, Danny Ings got caught. Well, he didn't get caught, he fell really awkwardly in a challenge and seemed to injure one of his knees, had it heavily wrapped. If that's to be serious, which we hope it isn't, that could be a real blow to Ralph Hasenhüttl.
It will definitely be a blow. I mean, he's been in fantastic form this season, back into the England squad, in the goals. Certainly since lockdown he's been in the goals all the time, and you just feel, have they got someone to come in and replace him? And the answer, Shane Long came on for him today, the answer is just plainly no.
He's been an amazing goal scorer. Obviously had terrible injuries at Liverpool and what have you, but obviously they parted a lot of money for him when he went to Liverpool, so there's obviously something there, and he's now coming back after those injuries and scoring goals. It's been a wonder that they've managed to keep hold of him, but it would take money to break the bank to get rid of them, to get him out of Southampton at the moment. Let's look forward to the next game on after us, Manchester United versus Arsenal. Normally it's a big game. It is a big game. It's a lower league game this time, but looking forward to that one?
Yeah, always look forward to that. I mean, they're always, over the history of the Premier League, that they've been some of the best clashes that we've seen. Certainly 2 teams in a little bit of transition at the moment, but you'd have to fancy Man United. I think the way they played in midweek against Leipzig was really impressive, and if they can carry on that sort of form, certainly Marcus Rashford was unplayable at times, and you just feel that they might have a little bit too much for Arsenal.
They are certainly one of those inconsistent sides, though, aren't they, Manchester United? They can turn in the odd performance that hasn't been too good. And then your old side, Tottenham Hotspur, take on Brighton in the late kick-off, and Jose Mourinho with an embarrassment of riches, the best front three he says he's ever had. They must be looking forward to this home game this evening.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he's got a lot of attacking options, isn't he? Yet really to see Bale, Son and Kane working as a front three. Bale obviously played in midweek in the Europa League, didn't really set the world alight, still looks a little bit short of fitness. I would expect him to start on the bench.
But Kane and Son,
Harry Kane has been involved, I think, in every goal that Spurs have scored in the league this season.
He's been quite...
without actually scoring himself, apart from once, I think.
He's been absolutely unbelievable. Some of the passes that he makes from that deep lying forward position to set Son away has been unbelievable. He has been quite a revelation, not just a goal scoring revelation. But back to this game, before we head towards the second half, you want some changes, and we need some changes, don't we? We need a goal.
I think, yeah, we need a goal, definitely. The game needs a goal. It'd probably suit us more if Everton got the first goal, because it would mean that Newcastle would have to come out of their 11 men behind the ball, very well marshalled defensive setup, and have to press a few more bodies forward, and it would certainly make the game more entertaining. But I think the onus is on Carlo Ancelotti. If he wants to regain that top spot, they need to win today.
His bench looks a little bit short on experience. Tosun, Iwobi and Bernard, all certainly with first team experience. Anthony Gordon, Jarrad Braithwaite and Ellis Sims, good youngsters, but I suppose if you're young enough, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah, I think that's been proven nowadays. Now, certainly Anthony Gordon, in the few glimpses I've seen last season and this season, looks a very exciting young talent. Likes to get the ball wide, likes to drive at defenders, likes to get crosses in the box, come inside, take shots. He's a bright player. Iwobi's got something to prove. Bernard's a tricky little individual, not going to get into wide areas to get crosses in, but he's going to link up nicely, potentially with Calvert-Lewin. So they do have options off the bench.
What about Newcastle on the break?
Yeah, it looks as though their best bet is going to be on the break. Certainly, I mean, they've always got the option of going a little bit more direct if they do bring on the likes of Andy Carroll and Joe Linton, who are a bit more of a physical presence. But at the moment, I think Steve Bruce is probably very happy with the way they defended and the fact that they have looked a threat on the counter.
Absolutely. Well, next up is I wrote down another 45 minutes of action here at St James's Park. Let's hope it's the first 45 minutes of action. You have been with us for that first 45. Don't go away, because it can only get better. And for now, you know that you are listening to the one and only Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven, that's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talks Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of talk sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of talk sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Newcastle United versus Everton here at St James's Park, goalless in the first half. I'm your host, Andrew Self, and alongside me is the former Tottenham, Southampton and Wimbledon defender Chris Perry, and this is Premier League Live. Chris, just before, we just saw little pictures in the tunnel down there. Big Duncan Ferguson, did you have many a battle with him?
I did play against him a few times. Big Duncan, I used to love playing against him, funny enough. I mean, it was a bit of a David and Goliath battle, but I'd like to think I actually came out on top in most of those.
Good man, good man. We've got some people. James Archer, 1991, much like the first. Bruce Porter barely make it over the halfway line, dreadfully dull. Stay with us, so we're going to cheer you up because David Henry's coming. David Henry 1, his Twitter handle. Everton to win 2-0, so it's 2 goals coming according to David Henry.
I hope so.
Yes, so do I. Idubamu Umungo, nice to have you along. I love your programme. We love it too. We try and make it that. We try and smooth the furrowed brows of Premier League Live listeners when we get the odd game that doesn't quite happen. But we're ready for 45 minutes. It can't be as tough as the first. Newcastle United in the second half will be attacking a goal away to my right hand side in their traditional black and white striped shirts, black shorts and black socks, and Everton in their royal blue shirts, white socks and white shorts. I'll run through the sides for you. In goal for Newcastle United, Darlow, a back three. I will call it a back three for the purposes of excitement, not a back five. It is Federico Fernandez, Jamal Lascelles and Fabian Schar. They have 2 wing-backs in Jacob Murphy and Jamal Lewis, and then the engine room is Jeff Hendrick and Matt Longstaff. Then going forward, it's Allan Saint-Maximin and Miguel Almiron trying to support Callum Wilson, who is the lone striker for Everton. They have Robin Olsen on debut in goal, on loan from Roma. Their back four from right to left is John Joe Kenny, Michael Keane, Yerry Mina and Niels Nkounkou, who is the only man on a yellow card. Then they have an absolute plethora of midfield players: Gylfi Sigurdsson, Andre Gomes, Allan, Fabian Delphin, Abdoulaye Doucoure, who are fluid in their movement from side to side, but they're not really getting alongside the man that needs some support. He's playing very well, Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the top of the park. Carlo Ancelotti down on the side of the pitch will be looking for a bit more of a reaction, one feels, in the second half, Chris.
You'd think so, but he certainly hasn't changed anything about the system and the way they're playing by the looks of it at the start of this second half.
60 minutes. Nkounkou down by the dead ball line with a dazzling first touch and an absolutely woeful second touch. Puts it straight out of play for a goal kick. Duncan Ferguson. We get a little replay monitor, luckily, in our commentary position here. We get little glimpses of different people, and Duncan Ferguson looked totally unimpressed there. Sigurdsson gets the ball to Calvert-Lewin, who's inside the box, tries to reverse the ball through for the on-run in Sigurdsson, but it was just too far in front, and Darlow came out.
Yeah, but the good thing there was it was good to see someone actually running beyond Calvert-Lewin and giving him another option. And although the ball was too close to Carl Darlow, it was a good idea and good intentions from Sigurdsson to get past and support Calvert-Lewin.
We need interaction, so at TalkSport Live is our Twitter handle. We'll see it as it comes up. You can indeed go to mine at Selfie86, and you can of course go to Chris Perry, who is more famous than I am. Far side, John Joe Kenny goes forward. Anybody is. Lifts the ball in. Calvert-Lewin aerially heads the ball up. He's still in the air. Wins the second header. Sigurdsson drills a shot in against the body of Federico Fernandez, and it's finally hooked away. But this time Calvert-Lewin is on the floor, holding his face. Maybe a stray football boot just catching him as he went for that second header, or maybe a clash of heads.
I think he heads the ball, then heads the back of the defender's head. I think he'll be all right. He looked as though he put his hand to his head and was looking for blood. I didn't see any immediately on his hand, so I mean, hopefully if there's no blood, he looks as though he's all right. I mean, he's a big, tough, strong boy.
The classic one is we normally catch the brow. and that's where there's very little, as boxers will tell you. It's gone for the bridge of the nose, actually. So it's just a nose.
It gets above, isn't it? It's Schar at the back post. Yeah, it's just a clash, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good header though, wasn't it? And Sigurdsson had a real chance on the volley, just didn't quite catch it as he'd have liked.
Yeah, it looks okay. He's not spoiled his good looks, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but you're right, it came back down, and just for the moment it looked like Sigurdsson had half a chance, but defended well by the Newcastle rear guard. Great ball in by Kenny that time.
Yeah, but it was just slightly overhit, wasn't it? But Calvert-Lewin kept it alive, first one, then headed it back across to Sigurdsson. That's when he took the knock from the clash of heads, but Sigurdsson there doesn't catch the volley as he would have liked.
Yeah. In fairness, I think he did. I used to watch John Aldridge for many years, and he turned around and said, it doesn't matter. Sometimes the worst connections are the best.
No, absolutely, yeah, because it doesn't go where the goalkeeper necessarily expects them to go. But
well, he could have done with a better connection.
Yeah, he needed to catch it better there. Yeah, absolutely.
He did indeed. That wasn't going to work in that. That old energy was just thrown out of the way there. Far side, Jamal Lewis, midway side the Everton half. Little short pass back. And we've got Kojo Hafer joining us as well from Accra in Ghana. Nice to have you along. We will give you're taking your English lessons at the moment, so you don't want to be listening to me, that's for sure. But anyway, the ball is back in play on this near side. Schar lifts the ball forward to Saint-Maximin. Got a bit of space now. He's in behind Allan, driving towards the penalty area. Stutters, plays it out to Almiron. Almiron will go far side now to Jamal Lewis, 17 yards from dead ball line, crosses the ball in, flicks off the head of Mina and then headed away by Nkounkou, only as far as Longstaff, who gets it down and plays it back to Jamal Lewis, 24 yards out, curls it in, tries to get it on the head of Wilson, headed away by Keane and then hooked away by Abdoulaye Doucoure. Stabbed forward by Federico Fernandez, but that's really got no accuracy whatsoever, and it's easy for Kenny to see it out for a throw to Everton.
Two good balls into the box, first from Lewis and then put back in the box again afterwards, but really they don't have the players in there in Saint-Maximin and Wilson to go and attack those balls. It's crying out for the likes of Joe Linton and Andy Carroll to come on the pitch if they're going to get that high up the pitch and get those crosses in.
But the scary thing is, and I should, this is just me and my humble opinion, but I'd be going for Carroll over Joe Linton.
No, absolutely. I've played against Andy Carroll, and when he's on it and when he goes to attack the ball, he is almost unstoppable.
He is a veritable force of nature sometimes, isn't he? As a target man, you talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's maybe not got the enthusiasm at 31 years old after being ravaged by injuries, but he can certainly make a difference. Kenny on the overlap, lifts the ball in. Calvert-Lewin goes up. Darlow pats it down and gets it at the second attempt, just inside the 6-yard box in his own penalty area. But you're quite right. Andy Carroll's, he is a game changer. He gives you a focal point almost, doesn't he?
He does, absolutely. I mean, he is certainly one of the best out-and-out centre-forwards I've played against. When he goes to attack the ball, he's so hard to beat in the air. He really does attack it like a defender. You don't get many centre-forwards nowadays who really attack it like defenders do, but he was one who attacks the ball superbly. Calvert-Lewin is another one there, and he caused Darlow all sorts of problems from that cross.
Yep, good work there by Murphy. Gets it into the feet of Wilson. Wilson out to Saint-Maximin. Saint-Maximin faced up by Doucoure. Goes inside to Doucoure. Runs into Allan. Has to go back to Longstaff, who first time right-footed sweeps it out to Jamal Lewis. Nice control by the youngster on the far side. Bearing down on Kenny. 12 yards from the dead ball line. Doubling up Everton. Has to go back to Almiron. Almiron to Hendrick. I've got one for you. I've got one for you coming in from DJ Keith. DJ Keith. Sounds like his match is a good old-fashioned punch-up. Chris Perry was in the first match I ever saw, Wimbledon versus Charlton. Great to hear honest commentary from a great pro. Respect due from the South Beach of Miami. Look at that.
Thank you very much. If you want to invite me over to the South Beach of Miami, I'll be more than happy to come.
I need you here. Sorry, you cannot go. You're not allowed to go.
Hope you're enjoying the commentary. If not, the game's not been great.
There we go. Look at that. Good old-fashioned Wimbledon Charlton punch-up. There we have it. Chris Perry at the centre, no doubt. You had some players at Wimbledon, didn't you? You had some players. Some
characters, certainly, yeah, absolutely.
And the game sometimes has got a little bit sanitised for my liking. You still need those mavericks, those characters.
It was a great place to learn my trade.
Yeah, and learn you did. Coming down his near side, Murphy tries to cross it in, blocked by Niels Nkounkou. There'll be a throw to Newcastle United. Jacob Murphy. the youth side that won the FA Cup for Norwich City with his brother Josh.
Hasn't really gone on to be the player that he...
Still relatively young, though.
Absolutely, it's still opportunity. I don't see him as long-term as a wing-back, but obviously came on, played last week, scored that equalising goal so late, has kept his place, which has been good, but defensively he struggles. He's not getting enough of the ball for me to be effective.
Daniel Sam, good afternoon everyone, I'm listening to you from Accra, Ghana. I think Everton will bounce back in the second half. Manchester United are going to win later. Forget Manchester United, that comes up later. Concentrate on this game. There's a corner knocked into the box. Gomez tries to clear it, but a clatter of legs on the near side, but it's gone out of play. It's Wilson and Gomez that have come together. I don't know what the referee is going to award here. Stuart Atwell, he's strong purposely over. Old Adidas Penarol, white tongue hanging over the top there.
They can have another look at this and just see whether it was a foul. Callum Wilson gets across the front. No, there's nothing in that, is there?
No, there's nothing in that whatsoever. We've got Mendes Towel now coming in, listening from a scorching afternoon in Ghana. We need a goal.
You could argue that Wilson gets in front and Gomez is swinging for the initial ball and does make contact with Wilson, but
there's no intent there.
There's no intent at all. No. But then I don't think there was any intent last week from Digne to foul Carl Walker-Peters, and he got sent off for it. It was a complete accident.
Just goes to show Callum Wilson,
it's a penalty.
You've got to do what Mo Salah does.
He's given the penalty.
He has given the penalty. Oh my word! I really thought there was no chance of that being a penalty. And
I think by the letter of the law, it's a penalty because Wilson gets in front. Gomez makes no contact with the ball and does catch Callum Wilson, but there's nowhere for him to go.
There's absolutely nothing. He's swinging at the ball. Wilson goes across it. Well, it's Wilson for the penalty. He scored both of them this season for Newcastle United. 55 on the clock. Surprised your commentary team that he's given the penalty, Stuart. But it's now Wilson versus Olsen. Goal away to my right. Wilson stands there. Olsen dances on the line. Stuart Atwell is waiting and waiting and waiting. This is ramping up the tension inside Callum Wilson's head. He's talking. He's still talking.
What they're waiting for here. Whether he's given the penalty and they're looking at it, I don't know.
It's wonderful. It looks like one of those people that walk down the road in your city just talking on a telephone, but you can't see anything else. They've agreed it's a penalty, finally. VAR, which is being sorted out by Chris Pawson. Now it's Wilson. Stands back, up to the football he goes. Olsen goes the wrong way and he goes just to the left of centre. Callum Wilson puts Newcastle in front, and that really is a game plan that Steve Bruce will admire now, because Everton really have to go and try and win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the perfect scenario for Steve Bruce. It's a really well taken penalty from Callum Wilson. Just waits for Robin Olsen to move and then slots it pretty much down the middle of the goal, but to Olsen's left hand side. Jordan Pickford disappointed that he didn't save it. Obviously Jordan Pickford got a fantastic record saving penalties. You wonder whether they might have brought him on, but
stranger things have happened.
It's a soft penalty for me.
Well, I personally, we heard when you said it was a penalty, I thought, where's he got that from? Because I just, Andre Gomez is clearing the football, and then
he makes contact. He makes contact with the player and doesn't make contact with the ball.
Yeah, but by the
it would be a free kick anywhere else on the pitch. So why wouldn't it be? I understand why it wouldn't. I think it's just unfortunate.
Well, I'm slightly bemused by this. Because
I think Andrew. I think the referee gives it as a penalty. Had he not given it as a penalty, I don't think it would be a penalty. But I think the fact that he gave it as a penalty,
he's got to run with it.
And there's no reason not to give a penalty, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, no, I concur with exactly what you're saying. And like yesterday, Mo Salah, when he got touched, he was touched. And it's a penalty. What the histrionics afterwards wasn't very good. But let's just see as Wilson's into the box again. Tries to roll it through. Got it to Longstaff, who's a long way forward. That's a superb save from 7 yards by Olsen, who's managed to shovel it over the top of the crossbar. Everton undone through the centre. We'll come back to that penalty situation, and what I'm trying to get over as a point here is that If I shoot a ball at you from half a yard and it hits you on the arm, there's absolutely no chance
you could do.
Nothing you can do.
No.
Gomez is clearly going to play that ball away when Wilson steps across in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no way that Gomez is looking to do that if he knows Wilson's there.
But there's nothing about intent now to foul someone, is there? It's a foul.
Yeah, as I said only the other week, we've given away common sense for perfection, and I think common sense should prevail. Corner to Newcastle, lead by a goal to nil. Scored from the spot by Wilson. Longstaff curls it in, flicked header, headed away by Mina. Comes out, brought down by Almiron, who feeds it back out to Saint-Maximin, level the 18-yard box of Everton, cuts in field past Allan, cuts past skillfully Sigurdsson, drills a shot in, hits the rump of Calvert-Lewin, and finally Sigurdsson gets the ball out to Doucoure, and he's got nobody in front of him. He's going to have to check on the halfway line to get a royal blue shirt in front, but he's done well to get it back to Nkounkou, and now it's back down the line to Doucoure. Again, Doucoure looks up, he's got 6 black and white shirts and 1 blue shirt. Sigurdsson gets the ball from Gomez. Sigurdsson with a shot, and up goes Darlow, down goes Darlow, ball goes into the cupboard seating behind, and they're shouting from Abby Mickey. Yeah, it's going to be a substitute. Looks like Bernard, is it?
Yeah, it looks like Bernard's going to come on.
There we go.
Could be Sigurdsson going off.
I don't know. I think he might go for Gomez.
Yeah.
Mina and Wilson just being shown there. But just a shout, we've got good afternoon everybody. I'm listening to you guys from Anika in Port Harcourt. Newcastle will go with a point here. Everton will go back to where they belong. And Mina and Wilson.
Who got the yellow card? Did Wilson Wilson should get a yellow card. Yeah, he did. A little bit of
afters.
Well, before, wasn't it? The starters,
in
really,
between us. Yeah. In between us, really.
I think that's what we are today. It seems like the starter for the Man United Arsenal game.
Stop it. We're the aperitif. You're quite right. Hors d'oeuvre, I think they called it in posh restaurants, but I don't go to those.
Hors d'oeuvres.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. I'm only used to that place where they say, have you ever been to this restaurant? And there's a free salad bar. That's the one I go to. Anyway, ball goes a long way up the front. I'm leaving it, Chris. Get me out of this hole, son. Please. Tell me something about the game now.
I think Everton at the moment, they were fortunate there not to concede a second. A brilliant save from Robin Olsen, from Sean Longstaff on the turn from 6 yards, kept them in the game. They need to hang in here in this period where Newcastle obviously buoyed by getting the penalty and taking the lead. They need to find a way to try and change the flow of this game and to break Newcastle down.
Well, they've got their option, Bernard on. We fancied him to come on, possibly as something that could affect the game for the bench from Everton. Otherwise, along with the young lads that you knew a lot about, but he's gone for his tried and trusted Brazilian. Gomez has gone off, who has done the modern day version of the olden day substitute. Now, what I mean by that is in the olden days, you used to walk off with a bit of a limp. Now what you do is wait for the camera to pan onto you and you put a bit of ice on a part of the body. That's the modern day thing. It is a penalty, but we've seen it again.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, deep cross in by Nkounkou.
I'd be so disappointed if that was given against me.
I would have as well. And but that's the way, as you say, football is going.
Yeah.
Referees and assistants are now afforded that chance to go and have a look at something, and accidental doesn't cut the mustard anymore. And it's debatable. I suppose it's when the grey area, when you see the wrestling matches that you do see corners go unpunished, that start to worry things, and that's when the line in the sand seems to get slightly blurred. Why can't you use it then and see somebody, Harry Maguire?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, ball's back in play. Everton trailing here. Newcastle 1, Everton 0. 62 on the clock. Premier League live. Goal by Callum Wilson. Penalty given after a coming together. Gomez went to sweep the ball clear, but stood across by Wilson, who then got caught by Gomez. That was the penalty. And Wilson then dispatched the penalty into the back of the net. Bernard gets the ball for Everton. Back to Delph. Steady, back to Keane on the halfway line. Square to his right now to Mina. Mina further out right to John Joe Kenny. They've not lost back-to-back games, Everton, under Carlo Ancelotti. Good layoff there. Kenny tries to drill the ball into the box, but Jamal Lewis, doing his wing-back duties very well, blocks the cross. It's going to be a throw to Everton, level with the 18-yard box of Newcastle United as they attack the penalty area away to my left-hand side. Sigurdsson gets the throw from Kenny, turns it into the space down the channel, but Jamal Lewis is across and thumps it into the stand on the far side. Everton gain a few more yards. Not a lot of movement, in fairness to John Joe Kenny. Abdoulaye Doucoure or Gylfi Sigurdsson is only intended involvers. Now it's Calvert-Lewin, comes out of the box, plays it back to Allan, makes his way back into the penalty area, square to Delph. Delph takes a touch, little left to Bernard. Bernard tries to spin away. He's done really well to get around Fabian Schar, but Fabian Schar commits the cardinal sin and puts his hand on the diminutive finger of Bernard, and down he goes.
It's always difficult when a player's a lot smaller than you. Fabian Schar there just wanted to put his arm out, but because of the diminutive appearance of Bernard, it goes across his shoulder, and it means that he can go to ground. Usually when you're playing against a bigger centre forward, that goes across his chest and you can just block their run.
I know. That's the trouble having small players. There we go. Free kick. Darlow looks out of his goal. Sigurdsson addresses the ball, lifts it up towards the penalty spot. Calvert-Lewin heads it off the back of his head, but straight into the arms of Karl Darlow. But again, he causes problems. Dominic Calvert-Lewin timed his run well.
Good ball from Sigurdsson. Rises in between two defenders. Calvert-Lewin can't get a lot of power on the header. Just flicks it towards goal. Anywhere a couple of yards to the right or the left of Darlow, it would have gone in. But straight at him.
Just watching the delivery there from Sigurdsson, it's what you call a cross, is it? He is literally just
dinking it, clipping it, yeah, absolutely.
He's almost chipping it onto that spot. Calvert-Lewin now turns to face Fabian Schar, goes back now to Doucoure, Niels Nkounkou into the feet of Bernard, back to Nkounkou, fires a shot in high over the top of Darlow's bar from 22 yards. Everton trying to work their way into the final third of Newcastle, but Newcastle pretty resolute, one would say, at the moment.
Well, they've been resolute throughout the whole game, haven't they? Everton really haven't created too many chances. Their best opportunities have probably come from set pieces or balls into the box. Newcastle got a good defensive shape. They're happy to defend as a team.
Got no real pace out there, have they? Everton to go down the flanks, as you said earlier on. You know, get it wide, get it in. There's nobody that's going to. You don't feel anybody's really going to trouble Murphy and Lewis as the wing backs, or get in behind them and really leave them. Unlike Almiron, who managed to turn defence into attack in the first half when Saint-Maximin had that chance. Everton don't seem to have those players. Far side, Lewis back to Hendrick. Hendrick rolls it back to Fernandez. Fernandez sweeps it crossfield, looking for Jacob Murphy. He brings it down, time to bring it down, standing off as Nkounkou, and he plays it into the feet of Wilson. Wilson comes off Mina, back to the halfway line to Matty Longstaff, who squares it out on the far side to Saint-Maximin, who I almost forgot was playing, but now he's going to drive forward. Overlap comes from Jamal Lewis. Lewis crosses the ball in. Keane gets it away, only as far as Lewis. Lewis, nice little drag back, gets away from two Everton players and now plays it back to Almiron, who now short pass infield to Almiron, and then Saint-Maximin back to Almiron. Newcastle getting their tricky players on it, but Doucoure robs Saint-Maximin right by the edge of his own penalty area. And Everton with Allan start to come forward midway inside his own half. Delph 12 yards shy of the halfway line. I can't believe there's been 16 attempts in this, Chris.
It's hard to remember them, yeah.
There we go. Bernard onto the football, looking for Niels Nkounkou to go down the line. He checks and rolls it back towards the halfway line to Allan. Patience now a virtue for Everton. Mina steps into the line and plays it out to John Joe Kenny. Kenny 12 yards shy of the penalty area. Back to Doucoure. Doucoure, it's a bit laboured now from Everton going forward. They have dragged a player out and they found Bernard, who's going to play it out now to Niels Nkounkou, who's going to take on Murphy. Can he get to the dead ball line? He can, but it's blocked cross off the inner thigh of Jacob Murphy, and Jeff Hendrick knocks it up towards the halfway line, where Keane heads the bouncing ball forward, picked up by Delph. Delph this time tries to sweep it in towards the Newcastle penalty area, headed away by Jamal Lascelles. Allan gets his body across the ball and gets it to Delph. Delph now to Bernard, and again a little lack of pace in this attack by Everton. It's sideways and backwards, and Steve Bruce will be over the moon with that sort of attack.
They're set up, aren't they? Newcastle are camped pretty much on the edge of their box, but they're happy to do that because there's absolutely no threat of Everton playing a forward pass. There's no space in behind to be.
They just can't be played through, can they?
It's a really good shape from Newcastle, and Everton have got to come up with something different.
Saint-Maximin and Callum Wilson are 12 yards inside their own half.
Well, they can do that because they've got the lead.
Absolutely.
They can afford to do that. I mean, that's exactly...
Not knocking it, I'm just saying, if you knock it square, you know, when...
See, John Joe Kenny there needs to be 15 yards higher up the pitch and wider. Now is the time to give it to him. But it's a poor ball.
That's a terrible ball by Doucoure. He might as well just pass it to Calvert-Lewin, who's put it out of play. But what I'm saying, you know, you think about it, Tosun's coming on for Everton, and he is going to replace Nkounkou, who's going off, and I reckon it could be
Delph left back, you'd imagine.
I would have thought so. And I think they're going to try and Tosun hasn't really set the world on fire since his transfer from Besiktas, but he's one of those that's going to be very, very awkward. He's going to make life difficult for the back three of Everton.
He's had a really bad injury, and he's been out since February with a cruciate ligament injury, so good to see him back on the pitch, but how much of an impact he can make in this game is going to be...
Thinking about the supply so far to Calvert-Lewin, it looks a little awkward for Tosun to expect that he's going to get better supply from that, although there is a different formation behind. Joe Jackson says he's doing the best with what he's got, leave him alone. Somebody's having a chat off air on that one. Iwobi Samuel, good afternoon, happy new month to you guys. Everton is finally going back to where they belong. Not a lot of love for the Everton scene, is there, out there? But Saint-Maximin there, just fouled on the halfway.
Yellow card for Mina.
Really? You know, he did touch his shirt, I admit, but it wasn't a big tuggly tug, was it? To give it its full name. Chris, how many yellow cards would you have had in today's rules and regulations?
I got a few anyway.
No, you'd have had most of the year off. No, sorry. But it has changed remarkably.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
So there we go. Ball is in play on the far side. 17 minutes have elapsed of this game here between Newcastle United and Everton on Premier League Live. The goal separating the two sides. Callum Wilson's penalty. That is the way it stands at the moment. Newcastle United looking for their third win of the season in the Premier League. Fernandez looking for movement down the line, throws it deep. Wilson comes out of the penalty area, gets it down, gets his body across Mina, goes back now to Federico Fernandez, who looks to go crossfield, and it's not a bad ball, and he finds Jacob Murphy now 6 yards outside the Everton penalty area, cuts inside of Delph and of Bernard, and in the end tries to curl it into the top corner of the stand.
Yeah, it wasn't a great effort from Jacob Murphy. It's a good run from Sean Longstaff to open up the space for him to drive inside, but his shot was way off target.
This performance from Everton has sort of almost taken out that superb run, taken the air out of the wind out of the sails of that superb run.
A second defeat in the run will just, as you say, takes all the wind out of their sails. All the question marks are going to be asked about strength of squad, depth of squad, and you can see that when they don't have their important players on the pitch, Dino, Rodriguez, Richarlison, they aren't quite the same team, and they haven't got the strength in depth to challenge.
Forward from Wilson to Murphy. Murphy goes past Allan. Allan gets close on his hip. Little tug on the shoulder. Yellow card coming for the Brazilian.
They're just losing their heads a little bit here, Everton. They need to just compose themselves, because there's still enough time to get back into this game and certainly get something from it.
It's getting a little bit desperate though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That's how they're feeling at the moment, because they're not...
Well, I watched the first game of the season at Spurs, and I thought they were absolutely excellent and deserved the victory, and I thought they looked like a team that had a plan. They don't look like they've got a plan today. They don't look like they know what they're doing.
No, from the outset, and I woe betide me to even question Carlo Ancelotti's game plan, but there didn't seem a way when we saw those five strung across the middle and tried to work out exactly what they were going to do. We couldn't see where it was coming from, could we?
No, absolutely not. No.
So sure, Saint-Maximin dances around too, rolls it out to Almiron. Almiron shovels across the face of goal. Longstaff just inside the penalty area. Ball down the line to Wilson. Wilson and Delph, and the couple of ricochets. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. I think it is actually, in the end, just off of Fabian Delph.
Fabian Delph there just needs to be a little bit clever. The ball was already past Callum Wilson, just needs to step over the ball, and it would have gone out for a goal kick. Gives away a needless corner. Ryan Fraser looks like he's going to come on below us after this corner's taken.
Longstaff to lift this ball on. Sean Longstaff, called him Maxley earlier on. They are brothers. Cross it to the edge of the box. Picks Jacob Murphy, who chests it down and follows it high over the top of the crossbar. Would be interesting.
Would have been some goal, wouldn't it?
It would have been some goal, but unfortunately, it didn't quite happen. It looks as though it's going to be Allan Saint-Maximin that comes off. The talismanic French attacking midfielder. Hobbles his way off the field of play. Maybe still feeling the effects of that little tweak of the hamstring. But I feel that
flashes, isn't he? Showing flashes of what he does. That's how he plays, really. Comes alive when the ball lands at his feet. Very unpredictable in possession. Can win you a game. Not today, hasn't been able to win the game, but he certainly played his part.
What you get with Ryan Fraser at Bournemouth, a lot of assists when he was at Bournemouth, but his industry and his work rate, and you know what you're going to get from him. You know he's going to work hard, you know he's going to cover his ground, and you know he's got that sort of ability to weasel out an opportunity. So Steve Bruce is sort of almost covering his bases with that substitution. Loose touch by Bernard, finds Murphy. Murphy gets it to Longstaff, now down the line, and of course Fraser's in behind Delph straight away. On the side of the Everton penalty area, back to the feet now of Almiron. Two players come back, and it was Sigurdsson, Allan, and then Doucoure that ferret the ball away for Calvert-Lewin. He has to spin and play it to John Joe Kenny, 12 yards inside his own half still. Nice to see that Calvert-Lewin, as soon as he released that ball, he's off on his run. He wants to get back where the dangerous part is, at the other end of the field. It's nice to see that from forward. Sometimes you see them handling.
He does like to play in those danger areas, doesn't he? He likes to play in the middle of the pitch.
He's just showing signs, though, of nothing's happening, so I'm going to have to
go and look for the ball.
Yeah, I've got to go and look for it, and you sort of take him away from that real danger area. He's possibly more than capable of playing those two roles, but you often feel when you see those signs that they're not going to be there. They'll end up doing all the hard work to get it down the flank or down the channel and be 2 yards behind the cross.
I think that's probably the difference when he's got a centre forward partner, as he has now with Tosun, is that one of them has to drop into the little pocket of space, and it seems to me that Calvert-Lewin does that a little bit more naturally than Tosun.
Yeah, well, he's very good into his body, isn't he, Calvert-Lewin?
You think of Harry Kane's excellent at that.
Sigurdsson to Tosun. Tosun square up to the edge of the box. Doucoure spins, shoots, blocked by Hendrick. And it comes to Allan. Allan going far side. Lovely reverse ball in. Kenny across the face of goal. This time it's cleared by Federico Fernandez. Kenny again gets the ball back out to Allan. Allan down that far side of the Newcastle penalty area, turns into Almiron, who clears it, but
what a brilliant ball from Allan, wasn't it? Defence split him past, a little bit disguise on it. Through to Kenny, tried to fire it across the box. It's a brilliant block from Fabrice Fernandez. He did brilliantly there.
And it's so simple, isn't it, that pass? You know, when it's reversed, it's lovely. But when you see those passes, you just roll it in. There was one last night, I think it was for Liverpool's second goal to Jota. You know, it's just a straight pass, only a 10 yards pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mane was offside, but he ran onto the ball and put it away. Football's a simple game for us.
It is, no, absolutely. Simple game, complicated by players.
There's quite an argument going on elsewhere between James Archer, Joe Jackson, and different people. So about what's going on. What we can say is that it's a free kick to Everton, 77 on the clock. Newcastle lead by that Callum Wilson penalty.
Yeah, Alex Iwobi's come on, hasn't he, for John Joe Kenny.
They're throwing their options on now. Darlow looks at his goal away to my left. Clipped in it goes. Keane goes up with a header. Has it more on the way down, so it comes off his forehead and over the top of Carl Darlow's crossbar.
Yeah, it was a good ball again, though, wasn't it? Into the danger area. You fancy Michael Keane, 2 goals already this season. Just gets underneath it, as you said, and heads it over the crossbar.
This was a lovely ball in. I suppose 45 million does get you that sort of delivery. And Sigurdsson he's got his range well. Darlow with a goal kick, knocks it long towards the Everton rearguard. Keane heads it away. Hendrick inside the centre circle on the Everton side, spreads it out to Jamal Lewis. Schar now inside. Everton more possession in this second half, but it's Newcastle that lead through that soft awarded penalty it was though, and Wilson dispatched it, sending Robin Olsen on debut the wrong way. That's the big news story of today, isn't it? Jordan Pickford rested, or
yeah, you can imagine that's going to get some headlines, that one.
Column inches aren't going to be for the match highlights.
No, absolutely not.
It's been a veritable chess match, I would say, in the nicest possible way. A lot of nip and tuck, a lot of bob and weave, a lot of jab and move, but very little knockout power. Doucoure far side now. Iwobi level the 18-yard box as Newcastle United comes inside to Bernard back to Doucoure back to Iwobi. Poor ball, misses out, picked up by Ryan Fraser finds Wilson inside his own half. It's a square ball to Jacob Murphy now up to the halfway line for Newcastle, flips the ball up. Ryan Fraser's running behind Mina and Keane. He's into the box, squares it across the face of goal. Sean Longstaff there. His ball back to Murphy isn't great, but it's Newcastle that are finding space in behind Everton at the moment.
Yeah, Newcastle on the counter have looked good all game, haven't they? Almost got in there. Lovely ball over the top from Jacob Murphy. Just wondered whether Ryan Fraser, not naturally left-footed, could have hit that on the half volley with his left foot and just had a swing at it, but tried to play it back across the 6-yard box, but just too long for Sean Longstaff.
Interesting that the home side are Newcastle, but they're playing like an away side now. They've got the goal and they're seeking to fill and always play counter-attacking football as Delph fouls Fraser.
It's clever from Fraser. He knows exactly what he's doing, but Delph gives him the opportunity to win the free kick. Delph's a little bit naive.
Yeah. It's they're having a bit of a tournament. Fabian Schar's in there just to dissipate any tension, but Delph's been suckered a touch, really, hasn't he? He's let the ball run across.
He kicks him in, and he dangled his leg, and Fraser's got every right to go down. It's a silly foul to give away from a player who's not playing in a natural position for him.
It's eagerness to try and win the ball back. Free kick, 6 shots from the dead ball line. Newcastle attack the Everton box away to my right. Longstaff will deliver. Can they put it to bed? They go outwards though to Murphy. Murphy now stands it up into the penalty area. Hendrick at the back post will run onto the ball. Arms are up and the flag finally is raised for an offside on Jeff Hendrick.
He's quietly had a very, very effective game, Jeff Hendrick. Just sat in that midfield area, broken things up, passed it nice and simple. Kind of what you expect from him coming from Burnley.
Solid, steady.
Yeah,
steady.
very much so. Reliable.
But you could have I say sadly, but the 10 midfielders that have been strung across the middle of the park, maybe 9 if you don't include Jamal Lewis, who's an attacking full-back, they've all been steady footballers, and the game has lacked that sort of
bit of quality.
Yeah. Bernard's onto the ball now. Hasn't really had an effect since coming on. Squares it midway inside the half of Newcastle United to Doucoure. Doucoure finds Iwobi. Iwobi turns, faces the Newcastle box, but goes square to Bernard. Bernard now finds Sigurdsson 20 yards out, left foot shot, drags it to his right. 2 come to cover him, has to go back to the left back. Delph tries to deliver, blocked by Longstaff. Throw to Everton into the final 9 minutes of this game here at St James's Park.
They're trying to force things, aren't they, Everton? They're trying to get back into the game, but Newcastle very happy and very solid defensively.
For Everton, this has been a little bit of a trot back to the dark old days, hasn't it?
This is why Carlo Ancelotti went and bought James Rodriguez, to open up defences like this. James Rodriguez, second only to Bruno Fernandez in chances created this season. And they're missing that. They're missing that guile, that little bit of a clever pass.
Allan to Doucoure, back to Sigurdsson, out to Iwobi. They are camped around the Newcastle penalty area. Cross comes in, headed away by Federico Fernandez. Mina picks it up 12 yards inside the Newcastle half, plays it out to that right hand side to Iwobi, who comes in field. Iwobi to Allan back to Keane right by the centre spot. The third one square to him is Mina. Finds Bernard. Bernard's receiving the ball now. He's got Delph outside of him. Goes to Delph. Delph, though, tries to cross it in. Again, Jacob Murphy's there to block the intended cross. I think the two wing-backs have done great.
Really well.
They've done really well. They've taken a lot out. Isaac Hayden about to come on for Newcastle United. And he is going to replace with Almiron.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and hold on to what I've got. Almiron's worked really hard. As always, he runs his socks off, but he's shown a little bit of quality, created that opportunity in the first half, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's an unselfish player, plays for the team, doesn't he? I think he's had an excellent game.
I think the man that puts the match highlights together owes us a pint because he's had an easy afternoon. He's got away with one today. So DJ Keith's back on. Of course, Chris Perry, you're invited out to South Beach. I have to admit, I can't buy the beers. I'm a massive Arsenal fan, and that wouldn't be right.
That's
Would Vinnie
okay,
Jones
don't
be allowed
worry.
to play in 2020? Bring back a bit of that game, please. Sigurdsson on the turn, fires a shot in, almost spilled by Darlow. There we are. So you're on your way. Get that passport out.
Well, we're not allowed, are we now?
Only for work. So
I'll have to find some work out there then.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's some beds that need arranging or something like that. There we go. A bit too good for that.
That's about all I'm up for.
This game at the moment is dribbling away the way of Newcastle United. We're into the 84th minute, and in fairness, it's been a comprehensive performance by Newcastle United. They've rarely been threatened by a man up front who has been on fire, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Fraser's got him behind Mina. He's into the box. Mina's got the wrong side. A good bit of work right across the face of goal. It's 2-0. Callum Wilson with his second goal. Fraser got him behind Yerry Mina. He crossed the ball in. It took a little deflection on the cross, and coming into the back post, Wilson had the easiest of chances to tap it in. Newcastle 2, Everton 0. Talk about the centre half, please, Chris.
It's so simple. It's just a ball down the channel from Jamal Lewis, and Yerry Mina just takes the wrong path to try and intercept the ball, and once Ryan Fraser's in behind him, Yerry Mina's never getting back. He makes a desperately lunging challenge to try and block the cross, actually deflects it past Robin Olsen and makes the finish for Callum Wilson. As simple as you like, just a tap in on the goal line, exactly what you want as a centre forward. And Newcastle get a deserved second goal, and they're going to get a deserved 3 points.
Really, there was a moment as that unfolded. It was a good ball by Jamal Lewis, and it shouldn't have caused that much problem. But
he gets the wrong side.
He doesn't just get the wrong side, but he then tries to engage too early, which means that Fraser just scoots away from him.
It's really poor from Yerry Mina.
Everton are facing back-to-back defeats here for the first time, I think, for some 4 or 5 years.
Look at what they've got. Delph left back now. They've got Doucoure playing as an out-and-out right back. I mean, something has to be wrong there with Carlo Ancelotti's tactics. He's got his tactics all wrong today for me.
Well, he's, as I say, woe betide me to even a man of his stature.
I respect him so much, but I just think he's got it completely wrong with the personnel he picked in the starting lineup, with the systems he's played. He doesn't look particularly happy on the bench, but I think he's got to take this one
fully on the chin.
Absolutely on the chin and move on.
It was fairly, it was fairly evident to us both, wasn't it? When we saw the lineup, we were trying to figure out who was going to do the support and who was going to go on beyond, and there was nothing there.
No.
And you said about the young man on the bench, I think it's Anthony Gordon. He could have had an impact, given him something a little different. Iwobi cutting in, rolls it into the feet of Calvert-Lewin, takes a touch, just puts it wide. That was nicely done with Calvert-Lewin. He stopped it with the outside of his right foot and then swung it in with his right foot as well. Lovely movement.
Good from Iwobi as well. Really good run inside from wide on the right. Lovely pass with his left foot, splits the defence. Brilliant first touch from Calvert-Lewin and gets his shot away quickly, but let's credit Fabian Schar there, who tracks him all the way across the box and makes sure that he can't hit the target, because it would have been blocked had he done so.
Terrific. Andy Carroll comes on for 2 goal. Callum Wilson was just saying there to Stephen Clements and Steve Bruce, where's my hat-trick? I've just lost it.
Get Andy Carroll on.
Andy Carroll, please.
Go long. He'll get you up the pitch. He'll defend well from set pieces.
Hairstyle's not for me, though.
No, nor me.
I think if he'd have wandered into a Wimbledon changing room with that.
I think he'd have stood up for himself. He'd have been all right. He's the sort of character that would have fitted him well at Wimbledon, I think.
Yeah. I don't think his hair would have stayed long though. If they cut up suits, I'm pretty sure that top knot would have disappeared a long time ago. Anyway, Keane plays it in towards Sigurdsson. Sigurdsson beaten there by a sliding challenge by Jamal Lascelles. 2-0 Newcastle leader. Callum Wilson double. £20 million well spent by Mike Ashley. Ball goes into the Newcastle box. Federico Fernandez heads it away. He's been very impressive in the air, Federico Fernandez, today. And now again, Fraser gets his body across the ball. Down he goes from Doucoure. He's going to get a yellow card for his troubles.
Yellow card. There's nothing Doucoure can do there. Ryan Fraser is desperate to go over.
Well, he's just waiting for it, isn't he? What do you do? Get across the man?
He's hardly touched him, Doucoure. It's a foul. It's not a yellow card.
You're told as soon as you get the football, you cut across the player that's coming back behind you. Simply, because he's going to touch you. He's going to clip your heels. He's going to do something. It's not a yellow card, you're quite right. Certainly on the halfway line. Newcastle 2, Everton 0. Premier League Live, don't forget, coming up later, it is Manchester United versus Arsenal. Two lower league sides going head-to-head at Old Trafford. First time I've been able to say that for a while. And then you've got Tottenham Brighton later on this evening as well. Stay with Premier League Live. There's plenty to come. And there was a young man that predicted a 2-goal victory for Everton at half-time. Well, it was 2 goals we got in the second half so far. But to Newcastle United, both to Callum Wilson. Sigurdsson finds stealth. And a very, very disappointing Everton side seeing out the final few moments of this game. Sometimes when a game gets to this, you're looking for quite a few minutes to keep the excitement going, but I've been quite happy with just the regulation 1 minute of this one. Mind you, we've got a lot to discuss. Ball goes with Mina. Don't, Chris, you go home early, I'm in trouble. Now to Keane now looking forward, curls it into the channel. Tosun gets the ball wide, tracked by Lascelles, tries to play it back, plays it off the legs of Murphy, gets the throw for Everton, takes it to Bernard dragged back past Hayden, plays it out to Delph level with the 18-yard box of Newcastle United, goes infield to Allan now square to Sigurdsson, 24 yards out, fires a shot, but just again Hendrick close enough to make it awkward, and he snatches at the shot and it goes wide of Carl Darlow's left-hand post.
A really good first touch, knew he had to turn and hit it quickly. Hendrick put him under pressure. It set up beautifully to hit on the volley with his right foot, and really should be doing a little bit better there and hitting the target.
You've got to give credit to Jeff Hendrick there, because it's all you want from a player. If you're going to get, we used to say I'm quite a short player. If I ever defended a corner at my lowly level, and I'm stood up against some giant, just make it difficult for him to head the ball. And that's what Hendrick did there.
He just put him under pressure, didn't he? I mean, the ball was sitting perfectly for Sigurdsson to hit, but the little bit of pressure that he was under forced him to fire it over the bar.
Sigurdsson with a loose ball. Hendrick clears it for Newcastle United. Six additional minutes.
6? Where did they come from?
I don't know. They're obviously enjoying themselves over there. You can join us too at TalkSport Live. Keep them coming in, the tweets. We've thoroughly enjoyed your company throughout this game. And Iwobi drives forward towards the Newcastle penalty area. Hendrick blocks, but gives it straight back to Doucoure. Now Doucoure infield to Allan. Allan 12 yards from the edge of the Newcastle box. Tackled by Sean Longstaff. Crossfield it goes now to Bernard cuts into trouble, runs it into the feet of Tosun clips it out nicely, back to goal to Iwobi, first time ball in, Calvert-Lewin touches it past Darlow, it's 2-1 from absolutely nowhere. Calvert-Lewin gets a sniff inside the 6-yard box, gets across his man and toe pokes it past Carl Darlow to make it 2-1, and they've still got 5 minutes to play.
And the 6 minutes probably gave Everton a lift. It's just a ball from Tosun wide to Iwobi, who fires it across the 6-yard box. Little deflection off of Jamal Lewis. He knew nothing about it, but who's there to take advantage? Calvert-Lewin gambles on something like that happening. Gets in between the two defenders, Fernandez and Lascelles. Little toe poke past Darlow at the near post, and it's game back on again.
It is, and anticipation we spoke of before, that's a man in form.
That's a man playing with confidence, a man that is just in the right areas at the right time. We spoke about him earlier, getting back into the right areas. He's in the perfect area there.
He's gone in there, he's gambled, he's got a fortuitous break with a deflection of Jamal Lewis, but he's profited from taking that chance, and that's what good strikers do.
But the ball is one of the first balls in the whole game that they've got somewhere near the byline and put a cross into the box.
Carlo Ancelotti suddenly looking at this next 5 minutes and thinking we could salvage something here. Calvert-Lewin chests it down, Doucoure's onto it, looks for Sigurdsson can't take it in his stride, and Murphy clears, and Sean Longstaff thwacks it as long as he possibly can. All of a sudden, Steve Bruce's Newcastle side slightly jittery. Duncan Ferguson's up.
This is going to be a long 4 minutes for Newcastle.
Chested down by Calvert-Lewin, shot comes in from Sigurdsson, blocks off the legs this time.
Yeah, they're defending a little bit too deep. Newcastle defending too deep. They need to get themselves 10-15 yards up the pitch. They're just inviting the pressure, and Calvert-Lewin is a great target to hit.
All of a sudden the blue shirts believe they're inside the Newcastle penalty area, swarming all over Newcastle United. High hanging ball, Carroll's headed it back towards his own goal and saved under his crossbar by Carl Darlow.
It was unorthodox, wasn't it? But somehow it became a really good defensive header. He does attack the ball well though, Andy Carroll, making sure that Mina and Calvert-Lewin can't get onto it.
Different dynamic, as you say, with Andy Carroll in both boxes. Gets it down on his chest from a long kick, and Hayden battling hard with Sigurdsson on the halfway line, gets it to Jacob Murphy. Murphy tries to play it infield. Ricochet favours Fabian Delph. Delph now plays it to Allan. Allan wants to go out to the right back, Doucoure. Doucoure still shy of the halfway line, stabs the ball up towards Calvert-Lewin, lets it run over his head. Michael Keane, an impromptu forward now, chase it into the channel but can't keep it in play. There'll be a throw to Newcastle United, and Ryan Fraser takes the ball off the toe of an Everton player, so just wastes a few more seconds. But Steve Bruce will just add to his fine coiffured grey-haired Barnet by getting a few more grey ones for the rest of the game.
Absolutely, the few dark ones he's got at the back there, they could be going great.
Going quickly, aren't they? Mind you, Carlo Ancelotti in the other dugout is still spouting what a sporting one would say, a rather nice sort of badger look, sort of the black and silver. Saying Tosun, I don't think will go grey myself, just looking at that receding hairline. Same ilk as me, I gave my hair 2 chances. I know it could fall out or go grey, and it's decided to jump out. But, well, we talk hairstyles. Fine head of scalp there. Fabian Delph will now play this ball forward. Free kick to Everton. He stands it up, looking for Calvert-Lewin. Goes up, ball breaks down. Keane gets it under control. Federico Fernandez absolutely smited that into the shins of Keane, and the ricochet went back faster than they could shoot, just wide of the Newcastle goal.
It was a couple of yards wide. It looked a lot closer than it from the angle we're looking from, but Federico Fernandez there lashes it clear. It comes off of the left shin of Michael Keane, and for a moment it looked as though it was going to go on target.
You'd have been saying to Steve Bruce, if that had entered his net, you'd have been saying, how's your luck, Steve? Because that would have been a really, really an amazing own goal. Allan finds Bernard on the halfway line for Everton. We're still into the final minute of the minimum six to be added. Delph leaves it to Bernard now turning, facing up towards the corner of the box, curls the ball in. Darlow's got to turn it over. Backpedaling, it's another corner.
I think it was a cross from Bernard, but it was a lovely jinky run. Just looks to clip a ball to the back post. Gets it too near to Darlow, but it almost falls under the crossbar, and it's really good goalkeeping for the Newcastle keeper.
Corner, Darlow in the goal, away to my left-hand side. Looks out to his left-hand side. Sigurdsson to deliver. Olsen's up. Olsen, can he score on his debut? The goalkeeper today, preferred in between the posts and Jordan Pickford. He's a tall lad. It's just stood up. There's a lot of people there. Darlow's up, and he takes it off the head of Olsen, in fairness, and I think that will be it. And Steve Bruce will be looking for Attas, or Stuart Atwell as he's known, to pick up that whistle and give it a shrill peep to finish this game. Darlow taking his time. Goes long. Stuart Atwell says that's enough. It's finished here. Newcastle 2, Everton 1. Chris, your thoughts?
I think Newcastle deserved the victory. It was a lot closer probably with that goal at the end than Everton deserved. They didn't really have any idea how to break Newcastle down. Very lacklustre performance, and Newcastle's organisation won the day.
It did indeed. It's finished here at St James's Park. Newcastle 2, Everton 1. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale, weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talk Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
Talk Sport Legion, assume Tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me, Allan.
And extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
90 minutes have elapsed here at St James's Park. Here's your match highlights. Delph trying to get back. He's cutting in field now. Rolls it into the field. Saint-Maximin. Real chance here. Great save by Robin Olsen. The best chance of the game there fell to Saint-Maximin. They're still trying to get into the penalty area as well. But what a break. What play by Callum Wilson. What a chance for Saint-Maximin. What a save by Olsen.
Yeah, it was brilliant initially from Almiron, who received the ball on the edge of his own box and carried it up the pitch. Past Andre Gomez. Released Wilson down the left-hand side.
Stands back. Up to the football he goes. Olsen goes the wrong way and it goes just to the left of centre. Callum Wilson puts Newcastle in front. Fraser's got him behind Mina. He's into the box. Mina's got the wrong side. A good bit of work right across the face of goal. It's 2-0. Callum Wilson with his second goal. Fraser got him behind Yerry Mina. He crossed the ball in. It took a little deflection on the cross and coming into the back post. Wilson had the easiest of chances to tap it in. Newcastle 2, Everton 0. Ball in. Calvert-Lewin touches it past Darlow. It's 2-1. From absolutely nowhere, Calvert-Lewin gets a snip inside the 6-yard box, gets across his man and toe pokes it past Carl Darlow to make it 2-1. Well, there you have it. That was your match highlights. A 2-1 win. I've been joined alongside myself by Tottenham, Southampton and Wimbledon former defender Chris Perry. Chris, that's a little bit dismal from Everton and a decent win there for Newcastle United.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think everyone's interested after last week's poor performance of Southampton how Everton were going to come and react to that and to get another defeat and what was a really poor, disjointed performance. I think it's answered no questions for Carlo Ancelotti, and it's just.
Well, you mentioned earlier on, let me just cut across here. You mentioned earlier on, the players often get questions asked of them, but this time, Carlo Ancelotti might get questions asked of how he was originally setting up this side.
Yeah, I think there should be questions asked of him. I think we struggled when we saw the team. We struggled to work out what formation they were going to play, how it was going to work, how they were going to get any sort of width at all, and it proved in the game that there were just too many central midfield players on the pitch, and it was so easy for Newcastle to defend. They were almost taking up each other's spaces, the midfield players. I mean, at times you had Doucoure and Delph playing as fullbacks, and eventually they did end up as both the fullbacks during the game, when actually you're thinking, if you play in a 4-4-2 against a team that play a back five, you get 2v1 in the wide areas against the wing back, and it just seemed to me that Ancelotti, for whatever reason, just got it all wrong and couldn't find a way to make it work.
Tactical there, so Steve Bruce. Let's not knock Newcastle. They do what they have to do with the squad they've got against the opposition, and they've got themselves 3 points today. Callum Wilson and astute by 2 goals again today. They never really looked threatened in that game, did they?
Not really, no. I mean, it was always comfortable. The ball was always in front of Newcastle. They always had a really good defensive shape behind the ball, a defensive 5 and a block of midfield 4, and they made it difficult for Everton to play through them. And then they had a real threat on the counter-attack with the pace of Saint-Maximin and Callum Wilson. And although they didn't create too many chances in open play, they always had that threat, and you always had the feeling that they were going to take one of those chances, and they did in the end. I mean, they were fortunate to get the penalty for the first goal, but the second goal was a simple ball in behind that Everton just don't deal with.
Absolutely, that's how it finished here, 2-1 to Newcastle United. Earlier on today, Alex Crook was our commentator, and here's his thoughts on the Aston Villa versus Southampton game.
Aston Villa 3, Southampton 4. Saints up to third in the table after a James Ward-Prowse inspired 4th win in 5 matches and an unconventional 7-goal thriller at Villa Park. The visitors took the lead courtesy of Yannick Vestergaard's thumping first half header before Ward-Prowse took centre stage. The Saints captain celebrated his 26th birthday with 2 sublime 3-0 at the interval. Danny Ings' exquisite curler just before the hour looked to have sealed the points before Villa mounted a late comeback charge. Tyrone Mings' header reduced the deficit, and Ollie Watkins' penalty made it a nervy finish for Southampton. Jack Grealish's stoppage time goal ultimately proved too little, too late though, as Ralph Hasenhüttl equalled Ronald Koeman's club record of 14 away wins in the Premier League. It finished Aston Villa 3, Southampton 4.
Well, let's hear from those managers now. This is post-match. This is Ralph Hasenhüttl and Dean Smith.
First 60 minutes was nearly perfect, I must say. It was absolutely amazing what we played in this time. And after the 4-1 we struggled a little bit, because then it's mentally a problem when you know we are not so very often in this situations that we are 3 up or 4 up, so they stop doing what you can do best, and then you see is that it goes very quick in the other direction. But the most important thing is not the goal difference. The most important thing is the 3 points, and today was definitely hard work.
Frustrated obviously with the first goal. Looks now like you can put a cross into the box, overhit your cross, hurdle a player, go down and get a free kick. It was never a free kick, and I was disappointed with that, because it's in a really dangerous area. But we've got to defend that free kick better than we did. The lads got a free header and stuck it in the top corner, and then it became a bitty game again. They played once through our lines where Theo Walcott gets a free kick, and then Ward-Prowse sticks one in the top corner, and then inexplicably Matt Cash handles it, and when he puts one in the other top corner, so disappointed just with the way we've conceded the goals. But you have to hold your hands up, they were top quality set pieces.
Well, that was a 4-3 victory for Southampton. You heard Ralph Hasenhüttl there say, your former club, not used to being 3 or 4-1 up. They played really well. The big worry is Danny Ings went off after collapsing under a challenge and hurting his knee. Looked like he'd hurt his knee. But Ralph Hasenhüttl, he's had to survive a little bit of fire down there, but he seems to be getting his side to play in the way he wants.
Yeah, I think he's done a magnificent job when you consider that he just about survived the 9-0 defeat to Leicester. The faith that's been shown in him has been fully repaid. I mean, the way that he's turned it round has been astonishing, really. And the fact that they're now in the top half of the table, looking like a decent side, fantastic away from home, really difficult to play against away from home. If they can just turn their home form around, they'll have a real opportunity of pushing for Europe.
And we look at Aston Villa and Dean Smith, and we watched the game unfold. We were preparing for our game this afternoon, and at times Aston Villa looked as though they could be in this game, but then they found themselves out of the game, and then they got themselves back into the game. What would Dean Smith be thinking as a manager? He must be sort of slightly perplexed at how to address his side's inconsistencies, surely.
I think James Ward-Prowse, the first goal was from a free kick. They had a disallowed goal from a free kick from a corner. James Ward-Prowse obviously scored 2 free kicks in the top corner. So in open play, probably you might say Dean Smith might be fairly happy that actually Southampton didn't create a lot of opportunities, but they need to learn to defend set pieces better, because they're a huge part of the game, and certainly sides will be looking at set pieces now as something that Villa aren't good at, and they'll be looking to take advantage.
Next game up is Manchester-Arsenal. I put my tongue firmly in my cheek when I said that these are two sides from the lower half of the table. Joe Shannon and Paul Parker will be facing up to this game in Old Trafford. What are you expecting from this clash of the Titans?
I expect Arsenal to go to Old Trafford to sit a lot of players behind the ball, play that back five, try and soak up some pressure and look to hit Manchester United on the counter-attack with Aubameyang and Lacazette, and probably Pepe's pace, and see if they can cause them some problems. They've done really well against the top sides playing that sort of system, Arsenal, and I think they'll do it again. Manchester United, I think, are always better when a team comes onto them and there's space in behind for them to exploit, and at times they find it difficult to break teams down when they sit back in a deep block.
And the trouble is with Manchester United, could it be after a fantastic victory against Leipzig that we just get the opposite side of Ole's side, where they maybe don't perform to where they want to? So it's an intriguing battle.
Inconsistent Manchester United, aren't they, at the moment?
They are indeed. And then later on, your other side, Tottenham Hotspur versus Brighton, and these two sides will be going head to head. Jose Mourinho and Graham Potter, your managers. Let's hear from them now.
I'm going to make some changes in relation to the last, that my team is not as strong as it was, because I don't change because the Europa League is not important.
As I've said before, the Premier League is such that you've got to have a little bit on your side in terms of a bit of luck, a bit of the margins go your way, and they didn't quite against Crystal Palace. I thought the performance against Crystal Palace was worthy of more than a point, but we didn't get it. And then against West Brom, I thought we played really well first half, created some really good chances, only scored 1.
It hurts me. Sometimes players, they make our choices easy when they don't work hard, when they give up, when they don't keep the level of intensity, commitment, desire that we expect. They make our life easier sometimes. And these boys, all of them, they are making my life easy in a way of I have everybody available and in conditions to play.
Well, Jose Mourinho there, lots being spoken about the player that was on the lips of everybody just a few years ago, Dele Alli, and again, I don't know the team news at the moment, but he has been fit and ready to play, but hasn't been playing. What do you think of this situation?
It seems to me that he was harking back to the Europa League performance, which was really poor all over the pitch, and he was saying, it sounded to me like he was saying, listen, I've given players opportunities to show me what they can do, they haven't taken them, so I'm going to make changes back to the team that is tried and trusted. I thought it was a really poor performance on Thursday night, and obviously those fringe players who are looking to break back into the team, like Dele Alli, didn't take that opportunity, didn't take their chance, and it's going to be the tried and trusted that are going to play.
Such a difficult job. You never fancied being a manager, Chris?
Absolutely fancy being a manager, yeah.
Right, okay. That's you know, a lot of players that are ex-players, ex-pros that I speak to always turn around and say, "Oh, it's okay when you're sort of play, just look after your own performance and etc. But when you look after 23 or 24 ego-fueled, testosterone-fueled players, it becomes a different scenario altogether." So you fancy walking into that environment and sorting a few out?
I do, yeah. I'm taking my pro licence to try and do that, so.
Excellent. And it's a difficult game, isn't it? You're looking after a bunch, you're looking after everything, aren't you?
We've seen from the documentary that you're never going to keep everyone happy at the same time. You have to make some people unhappy, and those are the big decisions that you paid the big money for. And Jose Mourinho has managed some huge clubs in his time and some huge players and some huge egos, and he knows exactly what he's doing. I don't think anyone's ego is as big as his.
There we are, Chris Perry. Just before we sign off from Newcastle United versus Everton, which has ended up with a 2-1 win for Newcastle United, I suppose we should just doff our caps to Steve Bruce, who got it absolutely tactically spot on today.
He did. I think he set up pretty much as we'd expect a Newcastle team to set up, and he got a little bit lucky that Everton were way below par, I think.
And they were below par, and they've got some work to do. As you said, squad size could be a real problem for them.
Yeah. It just shows that when your top players are, I mean, most teams would miss players the likes of James Rodriguez and Richarlison, particularly in the attacking area of the pitch. But Everton really do have a lack of strength in depth, and it's probably going to cost them challenging, certainly for the top four, and may even cost them challenging for Europe at all.
And a big, I suppose, a bright spot when you come down to it was the simple fact that his marksman, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, ended up getting the ball in the back of the net, and he carried on trying, and that's a bright spot for him.
He led the line really, really well today with a real lack of service, still managed to pick up his goal. Fantastic player, 8 goals now in 7 appearances this season. He's in great form, and I'm really looking forward to see how his career develops.
Thank you very much. Chris Perry's joined me alongside here in the commentary box for Newcastle versus Everton this afternoon, which Newcastle won by 2-1. Coming up next, Manchester United versus Arsenal. Joe Shannon and Paul Parker will take you through 90 minutes of action there. But it has been 3 points for the Magpies and 2 defeats on the trot for Everton. It finished here at St James's Park. Newcastle 2. Everton 1. A big thank you for everybody for tuning in. Stay with us for the rest of the evening. Still 2 more games to go on a Super Sunday down here at Premier League Live. But for now, from me, thank you very much. Look out yourself. You've been listening to Premier League.